Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the yeah and just got me all confused. I didn't even turn that. Okay, let's do this right. Here we go. All right.
What?
Episode 30. Welcome. Technically, well, if you go off the YouTube archives, we're technically on episode 30, but the Tinadrill did some research to figure out what the hell episode we're actually on, and I believe it's 32. But
What? Why?
Because we had a failed
Oh, because we
episode.
have secret episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, we had an episode where the recording failed, and then we had an episode where
It just didn't get released.
yeah, it did get released because it all collapsed. So so the live viewers get the added benefit of seeing us fail, and the YouTube people don't. That's the difference.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you get when you dedicate yourself to being
That's what they pay for.
Yeah.
They don't pay for anything, but you know.
We had to do, just as a heads up, let us know if the audio, if you don't hear anything, because we had audio issues getting started. OBS decided to reset all my audio settings, so I had to play around with things, and it should be working, but there's an outside chance that I maybe set the audio input on the wrong device or whatever. So if you don't hear anything, just let us know, and then we can edit it out and pretend like that didn't happen.
Sweet.
For the YouTube audience.
Yeah, I turned it on, and now I'm getting like weird adverts. Getting adverts for like gaming PCs, I think.
Oh, okay.
Tentacular says the audio is fine now.
Whew. Good to know.
Good news. Good
All right,
news.
we're
There's
off
7
to
people watching.
We're off to the good start here then. That audio works. That's
I think there's like a 10-second delay. Also, I look really weird from this angle on camera.
There's a 10-second delay? Oh god.
It might be a little less than that, but yeah, I think there's a 10-second delay. So
the delays concern me. Not because of just how, like, doing the critiques where that's where we actually feel the effects of the delay a little, is I just get scared that, recording will drop or something will glitch and fail when the delay gets long.
What way?
Just that I'm worried that the reason that there's a delay is not an issue with Twitch, but an issue with, like, maybe RAM on my computer or something from running all these things at once.
Oh, no. It's always Twitch.
Okay.
It's always Twitch.
As long as it's always Twitch
you,
and not
you don't
us.
need to worry about that. It's because we're like, I think it's because we're like super low priority in terms of like the Twitchness. So they're putting all their bandwidth into people who are like doing gaming streams.
Can't believe they consider us low priority for... if they need a gaming stream, I can always bust out Nintendo Golf again and show people what real gaming is.
No. That last podcast devolved into something completely different. That was like...
Yeah, that was everywhere. Admittedly, I went through it, and I'm like, I'm going to have to just clear out a lot of this. But I was watching it again, and I'm
usable.
like, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it.
It was a show.
We learned things. We learned things. We learned about
lived a
Nintendo
little.
Golf. That's a bit from my culture. We saw a little bit of your hometown. That's your culture. That your restaurants have sequels.
My culture. We didn't even look at my hometown. We looked at Upminster.
Oh.
Are you saying Upminster's my home culture? Oh, we did a little bit. We did look at.
I thought we'd
Stamford Hope a little
bit. I couldn't find my way around though. I made it to the cemetery and then I couldn't find anything else.
Yeah.
Apparently, you guys like to bury the deceased in the middle of town.
Actually, genuinely, yeah.
That's not like that's not really a standard thing you'll find out here. You don't go to like the town square and then there's just a graveyard in it. That'd be really weird if you were in like the Civic Center in San Francisco and there's a graveyard.
Oh yeah, but because of how old our cities are, I think a lot of our cities and towns and villages and everything, I think they're all based around where the church is.
Right.
So then, the church is always going to be where the gravesite is as well, like the church of each place. So there'll be other churches, but the church of whatever place will be where everyone would have met up, and that will also be where the nearest cemetery will be. So it kind of makes sense that they're often relatively central. Obviously, it depends on where you are. Like, you're not going to find that in like London. I don't think you'll find like the cathedrals in London in the centre, but you're not going to find like that kind of thing in the middle of London.
Right.
But yeah, like the smaller towns, like I'm in a relatively small town, although it's slowly being eaten by London. London's like slowly creeping up on us. But yeah, I think like the smaller towns, you do find that a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, that works. You see, in the Bay Area, everyone buries their dead in Colma. That's the town that has more people underground than above ground.
That's horrifying.
It's just pretty much all cemeteries there.
That is a horror movie.
You go to Colma to bury Grandpa and buy a car. That's pretty much what Colma is all car lots and cemeteries. Yeah, it is actually a little weird the more I think about it.
Yeah.
But that's what it,
Weird. Wait, I've got to find this game's name. There's a new game out, and it's weird. Something of Dr. Dekker. Wait, Dr.
Dekker?
I need to acknowledge this game because I've seen it. I saw it yesterday for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Game. Enter. Dr. Dekker apparently just brings up 100 like actual doctors. Okay, the Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker, the game on Steam. Dude, this game.
I just closed Steam for the podcast. Now I can't save it. Okay, well, tell me about it.
You could. Okay, so this game. Have you ever heard of Contradiction?
No.
Okay, so it's. I don't think it's made by. I'm not sure if it's made by the same people as Contradiction, or if it just happens to have some of the same people like involved. But the way these games work is they're FMV games, so you've got genuinely real actors who are like doing all the lines. So you're looking at real people, right? Mm-hmm. And this Dr. Dekker one, the idea is that you are taking over the responsibilities of a now deceased psychiatrist called Dr. Dekker.
Mm-hmm.
And you take on all of his patients, and you have to figure out why or how he died and what are all of the secrets of each of his patients, like what's genuinely wrong with them. Like apparently Dr. Dekker had come up with bizarre assumptions for what was wrong with them, but you have to figure out what the actual answer is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's really weird. Like you sit down and you're looking at a screen of genuine people talking to you. It's like a recording, right?
Right.
But you can ask them questions, but you actually type them in. So you can be like, hello, how are you feeling today? And they answer you. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm not feeling too great today. I've had this issue over the past few weeks, right? It's so weird. And it's like...
So did every actor have to record like 65,000 lines?
Yeah, it's like there's like set lines. So, for example, if you asked, how are you feeling today? How are you? Hello, what's going on? All of those will get you the same response, right? Mm-hmm. So anything that's like within a certain realm, it will trigger a certain reaction. And if there's a question that just does not link to their case at all, or is completely random or whatever, or you spelled it wrong or whatever, they just answer with like, I don't know what you're talking about. Huh. Now, the funny thing is that these games, I don't think they're put on, like, the biggest budget, right? So the acting is suspect, okay?
Right.
Which is, like, the best part of these games. The best part of these games is the fact that the acting is ridiculous. Like, it's both, you both love them and hate them at the same time. You're like,
right.
You are so absurd. I love it, right? But they're also, like, you have to go into this game wanting it to be kind of bad, and that's what makes it so good. Because, like, the actual game itself is actually really good. You want to know what's going on. You want to find out what clues you need, what those lead to. It's genuinely a really fun game. But the dumbness of it is kind of like one of these, like, not actually bad movies, but, like, kind of dorky, silly movies that it's like, I really like that. So, there's, like, kind of mildly broken things in the game. So if you ask a certain thing, it might trigger something that does not link to your sentence, but you happen to hit on a keyword. So I was watching someone play, and they wanted to say hello and then the person's name, but they misspelled it and they wrote hell and then the person's name, and then this person went on a massive rant about how they were living purgatory and they felt like they were in hell, and it was just because of the, like, that wasn't the answer to that question. It just hit a keyword and it caused this whole like conversation to happen. So it's a little bit of a jank game. I do recommend, in particular, if you don't want to like buy into the series just yet, you want to see what it's like. If you or your friend has a Giant Bomb subscription, their playthrough of the first game, Contradiction, is hilarious. I really recommend that. But then this game, I don't think they're very expensive. I'm not sure how much they are, but it's a good laugh. It's very funny. And it's very intriguing. You want to know and you want to guess. You're sitting there guessing, being like, oh, I think I know what's up with this person. And then someone will say something, you're like, whoa.
That was that reminded me, there was a game on, when CD-ROM first came out on Macintosh, there was a game called Spaceship Warlock. And it was the same kind of thing as an adventure game, but you would type in the questions to ask people. And I remember, like, that blowing my mind when I was a little kid, and it was like totally janky. They didn't have that many pre-recorded things, but I remember at one point in the game you could go to a bar and type in a drink you want, and it would like have the different little cocktails, and if you drink too many, your screen would get all blurry. And I remember thinking that was the most hilarious thing. That's what I haven't thought about that game in a long time.
It's like the oldest form of gaming, like the typing in stuff.
Do you remember like Gemstone on America Online was one of those type-in games?
I've seen like little bits of them, but I don't know the games. But it's like the oldest form of gaming, barring like Pong and Tetris.
Right.
And yet, it's the one that blows my mind the most, weirdly, because it's just like it's crazy that you can enter in whatever you want and then stuff happens. I don't know. I find it insane.
I just got a notification on my phone that in the game of life that IMSI is shutting down. Wasn't that site that we were on June 23rd? It was fun because I remember us setting it up because we were looking at possibly like getting the forum thing, like podcast stuff. That's why I first heard of it. And then I totally forgot that I was on there. But yeah, that's shutting down.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That could have been good. Yeah. I don't know why it didn't really pick off. I think there wasn't the player base, really. There wasn't enough people jumping over.
Wasn't that kind of like a little like the forum thing? Like you make little rooms of interest?
It was kind of like a mixture between like Twitter and Reddit. Plus you could actually like... there was a little bit of Patreon involved in that you could like give money to supporters.
Right.
So, like, if you were on a page for, say, an artist, you could all sit there and chat about stuff as if you were on a Facebook page, but at the same time, you could donate money to the artist running it, which was quite cute. I used it for a little while, but then it kind of dropped off my radar. Right.
Yeah. I guess it dropped off everyone's radar.
Yeah. That's a shame.
Yeah,
oh well.
It's too bad.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, it's moving on. In this case, there's plenty of things to pack and puppies to draw. Because that's what's going on this episode. Let's explain. Yeah, let's explain to people what you got going in front of you there.
Yeah, so the reason why you guys get half my face today, is because I am leaving for MCM tomorrow. So I'll be setting the table up tomorrow. For those who don't know, for those who are new, MCM is like the big London Comic Con. Well, it's the brand that runs it. There's lots of MCMs around the UK and other countries, but MCM London is like the big Comic Con in the UK. I think the last show had like 130,000 people at it or something ridiculous. I sell at the show every year. This year I will have all 3 of my books there. It will be the first convention where I have the complete finished series there. So I'm going big. One of the things that is at the show that I will be selling there for the first time, there were pre-orders at the previous show, but it's the first time selling it, is the box set that you bought. So the box set includes an original art piece, a key ring, a wristband, a poster, and then whichever books you want with it. So throughout the day, I've been packaging each individual item. So that's got the original artwork in it. That's got the key ring and the wristband in it, and then that's the poster. And then they're all going in boxes like this. And then for the rest of today, I need to make up those boxes and put them all together. I just have to run off very, very quickly. But in the meantime, you can tell everyone what you're up to.
All right, I will explain what I'm drawing. I'm drawing a dog because I feel like drawing a dog. That's it. There's no... I'm not looking to do... This is not going to be a high concept drawing here, as I'm drawing this person's cute little pupper here, because I just feel like drawing a dog because they make me happy. So that's all I got. Though admittedly, I'm very proud of this drawing I just did of my friend Ben, who's going to be spinning records with me on Friday. I drew that yesterday, and this one was a battle, because as we've talked on previous episodes, drawing people from not quite profile, but close, and from, looking up at the face is a really awkward angle, and I had to pretty much move this eye around like 4 or 5 times, and I was convinced that that the paper was ruined from erasing, but apparently it turned out okay. That's such a pain in the ass to draw people from that angle, but I had forgotten. I committed myself to the drawing and then forgot how difficult and much of a struggle that can be. Particularly drawing the nose from that angle. It's very easy to mess up the nostrils. I've been thinking, though, it's really time to be curious, people in the chat, what everyone else is picking up on. The options on Reddit Gets Drawn were a little bit of slim pickings at the moment. A lot of backlit photos and very bad resolutions and poor lighting, and so it tends to make it tricky. Though usually right after we start a podcast, that's when everyone uploads all the good photos. Just to rub it in. But I'd be curious to hear what people, what they're currently working on. I've been thinking a lot lately that it's probably time to start into kind of a series, put a concept together and start approaching it. I've been stretching these huge canvases at my studio, and that I'm kind of hoping that lights a fire under my ass again to kind of work on a more cohesive body of work for a little bit, because it's been a long time, and I think I've spent enough time just kind of dinking around. Oh, you know what? I'm already laying this out pretty poorly. Well, the chat's particularly quiet right now. You guys are usually sassing it up in there. But alas, this is a no sass moment. So we're just going to have to sit here and listen to me talk to myself awkwardly in the scraping of lead on the paper. My camera moved. Let's see here. That's better. There we are. And I'm still not used to it, by the way. When I watch people's Twitch streams, that they're just playing a game and they're just kind of rambling to themselves, even if they're talking to chat, but it's just them. I don't know if I'll ever get used to that. That still sounds really weird to me. But maybe that's because when they're doing it, they're playing a game, so that's part of the distraction from how strange it is to listen to someone talk to themselves live on camera. Yeah. Tentacularly brings up a good point that there's just a few of us in here, and oh, there we go. Meaty Elbow and Ryan Sheldon and and the art night tend to be the really good at bringing the sass. As Ryan points out that my paper towel looks like a Chinese iPhone. There you go. I am not getting paid by the knockoff iPhone company to have my paper towel look like that. I would disclose it if we were getting financial incentives from knockoff iPhone manufacturers. I gotta practice drawing dogs more. I'm terrible at this. Jesus, horrible start. Okay, you know what? Let's just go ahead and just kind of clear everything there, because that was going horrendous. Ryan Sheldon says, I am drawing Doc Sluggo's pic from yesterday. I am not familiar with that one. Let's see. I gotta look at this thing for a second. We always gotta start by laying in the big shapes first, and I always screw up by jumping too quick into single details. There's only 3 mistakes you make when you're making art, and you just repeat those same mistakes over and over again, no matter how much you try to learn your lesson. And the one I'm making now is going too fast to details and not laying in the whole structure first. That's the mistake I'm making, and I make that mistake constantly, and I talk about it on the podcast, how I keep making that same mistake, yet I never seem to learn from it. You think by now I would develop a system that I am very adamant about, if that's the correct word. I should really look up words before I use them. But yes, you think I would have learned my lesson with that drawing error by now. But I don't think I ever will. I think I'm just getting too old and stubborn. I'm 34 now, and I'm just ready to make the same drawing mistakes that I've made my whole life. Yeah, see, no. Do we want that there? No, we don't. Leave that there. Tentacularly mentions that they are drawing a dog because they've been on a cat streak lately. Ryan Sheldon Art says, I always start with a literal scribble and approximate the size of the drawing I want, so I start with the right layout. And usually I start with a bunch of shapes and... oh, I didn't see that post. That would be a nice one. Usually I start with a bunch of shapes. Word! Welcome back.
Sorry about that. Carry on.
I was just mentioning that I try to start with a bunch of shapes to lay in, large shapes to lay in the forms, but I was talking about how I made the same mistake this drawing again, where I didn't lay in the basic structure first. I went straight to details and then immediately had to erase everything, and how I make that same mistake all the time.
Dude, I do that all the time. It's ridiculous. And I think every artist does. Mm-hmm. Every artist that I see, there's 2 things, isn't there? It's either you jumped into details too fast, or you didn't measure properly. I think they're the 2 things every artist complains they do constantly wrong.
Yeah, I was just talking about that. I think I had said there was 3 things, but I didn't name all 3 of them because I just arbitrarily said the number 3, assuming that's probably about right. But I do know that those are definitely two of them. Jumping in too fast to details, measuring incorrectly, and then I guess the third one's just like not following your dreams. And then that's the other mistake.
Well, I think they change. They change depending on like what stage of art you are.
Right.
I think those two are like every stage of art is those two.
Right.
And then I think the third one is like whatever particular stage of art you're at will be different. Like I think a lot of people, that third stage is anything to do with hands.
Right.
I think the stage before that is anything to do with the second eye.
I just did the mistake again. Why was I drawing the eye? I don't even have the body even
structured. I don't even have a composition yet. And I started drawing the dog's eye. Why do we have to draw eyes so early into the drawing? Why do we do that?
Yeah, I often I think I draw the frame of the face first, and then I have to draw the eyes in next.
But
as like human beings, we're supposed to be like, we connect to the eyes or something, right?
I guess.
That's the bit we know the most, because that's what we search for the most, or something. There's some science there. Someone will know.
Yeah, there's got to be some real science behind that. God, I am. Whew! I am off on this one. This is a bad news pupper drawing going on right now. This is rough. What happened? I was just on a roll yesterday.
You didn't even know you punned. You punned.
I did?
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question. Yeah, you said rough, which is like kind of...
Oh.
When you write in a comic book, they go rough.
Right.
I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
This came up during the week. It's about Americans.
Okay. I can speak for all of America on this one.
How do you personally, say wolf?
Wolf?
Yeah, how do you say that?
Just wolf?
You just say it normal. You say the L, yeah?
Yeah, wolf.
I lately have noticed a lot of Americans say woof, and it's weirding me out.
They call wolves wolves?
There's a lot of Americans that say woof instead of wolf, and it's bugging me because now I want to be like, well, what sound do they make? What sound does a woof make? Does
a wolf makes
woof?
A wolf wolfs. No.
It's irritating the life out of me. Every time I hear an American YouTuber say wolf, they say woof.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and blame that on No Child Left Behind. We're still fighting off the bad effects of that. That's what that is.
What's that? Is that like a
that was a Bush era thing where they pretty much they made standardized testing like the de facto focus of public education.
Oh.
Yeah. Teaching people to pass tests pretty much as opposed to educating them.
We have a lot of that now.
Yeah, it's bad news.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I don't think I've ever met a teacher that really likes that. The Wolf of Wall Street. That's
just what Ryan just said.
Yeah.
Tentacular. I've been trying to crop photos in Photoshop to fit the dimensions of the paper I'm working on.
Right.
It's helping with getting the proportions down better. Yeah, I always work on A4 dimensions. I'll increase the number of, unless it's like a specific thing, I'll increase the number of pixels, and then I'll mess around with the dimensions if I need to during the process. But I always start from A4 because that's the proportions I'm most used to working with in real life. For some reason that helps me, and apparently it helps you as well. In case anyone doesn't know, because it's actually a trick I only learned recently, if you want to be able to mess around with the dimensions on the fly of a digital painting, without having to go all the way through like image size, canvas size, which is a pain in the ass, and you don't truly know what you're doing to your image, you can use the crop tool. You might have not tried this before. It was something I only learned maybe the beginning of the year or something. if you're in Photoshop and you click on the crop tool, so it's like a little thing that looks like that kind of shape or something. It's like a black little
the square with the diagonal.
Yeah. If you click on that and you draw anywhere on Photoshop, that is your new canvas area. So you can like draw over what your current canvas is, and then you can pull it left, right, center out of your canvas or inside your canvas, and then as soon as you press enter, that's your new canvas.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun. It's incredibly useful.
Wait, isn't that just how the cropping normally works in Photoshop, or am I missing? I think I'm not catching the point.
If you're in another program and you use crop, it affects the image that you're using. So you are cropping the individual image that you're affecting.
Right.
Crop in Photoshop changes the dimensions of the entire canvas that you're working on. It changes your workspace area.
Right, so you can crop wider than the image that you're on, and then it adds to it.
And
right?
It adds blank space, exactly. And then you can work within that. And that's not like a layer or anything, that's like your raw base background.
That's useful. Oh.
And it's just like a 10 times quicker way of doing it than any of the other ways that are more obvious. Like you can change canvas size or image size by like going under edit and stuff, but it's so awkward. If you do it that way, you can just see it happening before your eyes. It makes life so much easier.
I was using Photoshop recently, having to do a digital thing, pretty much clean up a logo for someone. So and it was, man, I absolutely hate using my Intuos tablet so much. Not because it's not well made, which it is.
Oh, because you can see what you're doing.
Yeah, I hate it so much. I can't. And then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'll get better with this. But then I'm like, why? The next tablet I'm getting is totally not this. Why do I practice? It's like learning how to use a typewriter. Like, why am I learning a skill for something that it should be obsolete by now? It's horrendous to work with.
It does help to, like, it's not like you're learning nothing.
Right.
It does to be playing around. Oh, you've got.
Oh my god. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna have to be right back.
It's records time. I apologize if what I'm doing is not interesting. It's just what I have to do because I'm on a time limit. And I need to be ready for MCM. Obviously, you can tell if I move this slightly, you can see. Look all of these. Look all these that I've like individually wrapped all the damn things. So you can see I've been working on this all day. But yeah, unfortunately, I just need to carry on with it and get it done. I hope that it's vaguely intriguing to see a bit of the like behind the scenes of MCM and behind the scenes of product making and stuff. I hope someone finds some interest in there. But you are literally gonna see me working as a conveyor belt today. How is everyone, by the way? Let me check chat. How you all doing? Azantu. Hello. Aqua. Ooh, okay, if you want to share artwork with us, by the way, post it to, because we lose track of the chat, post it to Twitter, and put the hashtag DACPics on it, DACPICS, and then for the last segment of the show, we will show your artwork on screen. Also, if you want, you can put your little handle on it, so your name, or if you've got a Twitter name, or an Instagram name, or anything like that, or a website, whatever, put a little watermark on top of it, and then that way, when people see your picture, like if you look, where would it be? There on the screen, you can see there's like some scrolling artwork. So next week, if you shared your artwork with us this week, next week it will be scrolling in the corner. So if your little name's on it, then people can go and Google you and find all your stuffs and be awesome and maybe commission you. We've had a few people messaging us being like, who made this piece of artwork that's in the corner of the screen, because I want to commission them. So please do put your info on there, because it might lead to a thing. But yeah, otherwise we will show your artwork at the end of today's show if you share it with us on Twitter. I know it's a bit awkward that it has to be shared on Twitter because not everyone has Twitter.
Right.
But it's the easiest way for us to see it and capture it. If it's left in chat, the chat refreshes sometimes and we can lose it.
Right. And then what's hard is on Instagram, it's not as easy to save the images. You can't just like save an image on Instagram. You have to do crap. Yeah. So Twitter makes that much easier. So that way when we take a break and pull the images to show them, and it goes faster.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
As Santu says, next time with the name and stuff, too tired right now.
Dude, I totally get that. I totally get that. But do share it with us. You can put it on Twitter at any time. You don't have to wait till the show's live.
Yeah, that's true. If you put it on after the show, we'll show it. I just totally interrupted you.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, because we will check it throughout the week, and then any artwork that's sitting in there on the like #DakPics thread, we will take that and put it in the next week's show. So you don't have to worry about rushing or anything. You can do it in the morning. It'll all be fine. It's fine.
Yes. Ooh. I was thinking it'd be fun if I just set up like it's because I was thinking I want to get back into oil painting during the podcast, and I was like, you know what? I'm always working from photos. It'd be fun if I just set up like a little baby still life just next to my thing and just did little oil paintings of it during the show.
That is a cute idea, man.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing that myself, but doing digital still lives of like something on my desk. But I'm very organized in terms of like planning and lists and like where I need to be and that kind of thing. I am very disorganized in terms of like keeping a tidy place. Like, oh my god, should I show you this? Should I show you what's behind me right now?
Yeah, hold on, let me switch screens here.
Do you want to see?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm currently in MCM prep. MCM prep is the only time where I'm allowed to be a complete diva in this house, right? And as part of my diva-ish things, I take over the entire house with MCM prep stuff. So currently the state of the house, God, if I don't knock my drink over on my computer, that would be bad. Currently the state of the house is, why can't I move my computer? That's why it's caught. Okay. So behind me is half a setup. And then everything is everywhere. There's wings on the floor that are trying to be built.
There's stuff everywhere.
It's just a thing. There's half the tables set up behind me, like the table for the show. I did have the entire. Basically, I have a double table at MCM, so I have 12 feet of space, 12 by 2. And I had the entire 12 foot of table laid out here so that I could see what it would look, kind of like a stage prep thing. And then everyone was like, there's nowhere to sit and eat.
You're like, you guys are going to have to eat outside.
It'll all be gone tomorrow. Everyone deals with it because they know it'll be gone in like a day, because then it'll be at the show. And then hopefully all of it will get sold, barring the promotional stuff.
Right.
So everyone kind of deals with it for a day, and then I clean the house to make up for it.
The Santu says, looks like my kitchen, and my place, and my bathroom.
Yeah, I used to be a very messy pup. I really used to be like a complete nightmare. I'm now like the one in the house who's like, don't leave dishes on the corner, and like just running around cleaning things. Like I'm the one running around with the Hoover underneath everyone's feet. That's me. But
that is like the classic kind of cleaning sitcom-y moment, and it happens so rarely in life.
I feel like I aim to create that now. I like want that to happen. Only everyone runs from the sound of the Hoover. They're like, it's too loud.
Including the cats.
But yeah, well, actually no, one of the cats gives no shits. Comet doesn't care. Comet's like, I could have sirens in this house, and Comet would be like, yeah, and what?
Well, Comet always seemed to be trying to be like the dominant.
Yeah, he wants to be the thing that everyone else is scared of. Oh, I did it wrong. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to learn how to pay attention to this whilst talking, because I can't afford to do it twice on every box. It's okay, it's savable.
Alright, mine's starting to take dog shape now. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, dog shape is good. That's the goal. The goal was to look like a dog.
Lately, my Facebook, because everything's been so awful lately in life.
Yeah,
my
it's
been a lot of cute stuff to make up for it. Like, everyone's trying to cheer each other up. And, yesterday was so many people posting pictures of corgi butts. It was insane. It was that everyone wanted to post corgi butts and then loaves of bread and be like, which is which. It was fantastic.
It is pretty hard to, like, frown when a corgi butt is present. I remember seeing a nice clip of a corgi swimming. I'm just like, this is the most adorable thing
I want
ever.
to see that.
I'll have to dig that up.
You'll have to find that and send it to me, like, midweek. Middle of MCM. I'll be sat there and I'll be like, I am a diva when it comes to MCM. It's the only time in the entire year when I make any money, so, like, I have an excuse.
Right.
But I'll be at MCM and my phone will go off, and I'll just hand it to one of my staff members and be like, find out what that is. So if you send me a corgi butt, I'll be like, figure that out, and hand it to one of my staff members, and then they'll show me a little picture of a corgi butt, and I'll be like, okay, now go back, buy me cookies. I'm not awful, I just am, like...
It's only going to get worse as things grow. Eventually you'll be like, yeah, can you chew this cookie for me, please?
No, God, no. It's not like...
I said only blue M&Ms.
No, although I am gluten-free now, so I'm like, go find me food, and it's like, I can only eat from this place or this place.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh God, no. I don't want to turn into a horrible human being. Please don't let me.
You'll have no choice. It happens to everyone. Eventually everyone becomes terrible.
Yeah.
You know that thing like you never want to meet your heroes or whatever?
No, it's like what is it? If you're in the game too long, you turn into the bad guy or something like that. There's like a phrase. Someone will know it. Whilst I do 20 goddamn boxes.
Ryan Sheldon had said that you should outsource your packaging process to Dean.
Dean is playing Stellaris right now. He's playing a Star Trek mod for Stellaris. And I'm sitting here making boxes. I mean, it's my business. My mum often offers to help me with things like this. Like, she'll stay up with me into the night, making stuff. Like, we'll come up with dumb ideas. Like, the two of us are the worst. She comes up with dumb ideas, and I go, no, to every single one. I'm like, stop it, you're going to drive me into bankruptcy. And then I'll come up with something, which is usually a change on something else that she said earlier in the day, and I'm like, I have a brilliant plan. And she's like, yeah, that sounds wonderful.
She's like, yeah, I said that, you jerk.
She never remembers it, though, so I can pass it off as my own thing. Don't tell her I said that.
Yeah, good thing this isn't recorded.
She might even be watching right now. But then she'll be the one who's stuck with me till like 1 a.m. building some random piece of display props. Like, seeing the wings, we were painting it at the show. The show was about to go live and we were still painting. And then we had to put it up and it was ready to go as soon as the show went live. Insane.
That's the thing. I can't emphasize enough when people are asking about setting up art shows in the artist lounge or doing that stuff, is I'm like, listen, there's going to be a point where you are convinced that there's no way this will work or be done on time, and for some freaking reason, if you just stay working at it, it works out in the end. I don't know why. As long as you don't quit, it will work out, you know?
Like, that doesn't make logical sense, but it ties up with every single thing that has ever happened in my entire business.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that you have to do to make that work
Yeah.
is you have to know at what point you compromise, or at what point you shut down one idea and replace it with a similar idea. So there has been plenty of time where at the last possible second I've gone, this won't work, but this adaptation of it will work, and changed to that. But in general, every time it's been like for example, this show, I was late. Sorry, that's people contacting me about the MCM security. I'll talk about that in a minute as well, just in case there's people come into the show. Where it was like, yes, every single thing that I've done in my business, there has been a situation where it's like, in particular this thing, like I had nothing made in time for this show a week ago. Not a single thing. Basically, like, I was supposed to have stuff ready, and then something came up, and it was like that had to take priority, and I couldn't work on anything for MCM, and then I was on holiday. So I was away for a week, and then I came back, and I was like, nope, nothing's going to be ready for MCM whatsoever. And then I just thought, you know what, screw it. And for the past 2 or 3 days, like, literally, I got off the plane, I came home, I turned on my computer, and I finished painting the promotional posters. Like, literally didn't unpack from holiday. And if you do that for everything, you sit there and you go, I'll just do it, and we'll see how far we get.
Yeah.
You get there. You might be insane. You might get there and you haven't slept in 3 days, and everyone thinks that you might either buy a unicorn or murder someone. They're not sure which way you're going to go, but it will be done. I promise you, it genuinely will be done, but you have to commit to it. So many people like give up on the entire thing too early. It makes perfect sense to give up on individual things, like go, this product won't be ready, but I'll make sure everything else is. That's perfectly fine. Like, for example, for this show, I said my big commission advertisement that I wanted to do will not be ready, so I just won't bother making it, but I'll go ham on the book and just make sure that all the book stuff is ready.
Right.
If you're able to do that for like individual projects, but make sure that the overall presentation or art show or event, as long as you can focus on making sure that that is the best version that you can do and you commit everything to it, it will happen. Whether you have a year of prep or 3 hours, you will get it done, I promise you. It's so strange though, it doesn't make logical sense.
No, it really doesn't, but it does work. I just had to erase the entire dog's face.
No,
I really liked it too. Well, it's just a fucking look at the composition I'm dealing with here. It's like his paws are like right to the corner, so of course if I'm drawing this shit's gonna go off the paper, because I'm not gonna I'm gonna dive in too fast here, draw this too big, and then realize I'm drawing the paws and realize, oh, there's no room for the torso. I blew it.
I feel like the only way that I can do that now is by focusing on negative space and like trying to draw the area around the dog, if that makes sense.
Well, that's what I was kind of like laying in, and I was doing the point vector thing, and then what had happened is I totally just forgot about the dog's neck. Like I kind of accidentally missed a measure, and I measured to the collar into where it's like kind of chest is, but didn't leave proper scaling room for the neck and above, and so the head ended up just being all of it, like some weird bobblehead dog. And now it's, if I was making a doggy caricature, I would have been fine.
Little doggy bat.
Big dog head, and he's driving like a little hot rod or something.
I got a Facebook memory thing today. A year ago today, I was getting ready to fly to the UK and attend my first MCM and meet Sarah. Oh, that was sweet of fire. Dude, that's cute.
That was a year ago?
It was cool to meet you guys. Yeah, that was last year. That was last MCM May.
Wow, that felt so cool. Recent.
I know. MCM's come around so fast. And, like, every year, I'm like, really? It's MCM May again? Are you sure? I was sure that I had more time. Like, about, it was 30 days ago. No, it was 22 days ago, right? 22 days ago, I got a notification from a friend. MCM is in 22 days. Are you ready? And it was this list of things to do. It was like, wash your tablecloth, order your business cards, like all things like that.
Were they trying to mail you a panic attack? That sounds like a horrible message to get.
No, dude, yeah, it wasn't directly to me. It was to the local Facebook group of comic artists. So it was like, everyone make sure you're ready. And I just stared at it for a minute, and I was like, it's still 22 days ago to go. And then I thought, no, that's really soon. I was like, oh shit. And you know what? I was so behind on work, I didn't do any of those things. My business cards are arriving tomorrow.
Oh god.
They arrive whilst I'm at the show setting up.
Wait, did you ship them there or whatever? How did that work?
No, they're being shipped here, so like fingers crossed they actually get accepted. So at the moment I'm hoping that they arrive before I leave, because the show only opens at 2 tomorrow for setup. So I'm hoping that they'll be here before I have to leave. In which case my boyfriend can help carry all of this stuff to the show. If they don't arrive, then I need him to sit here and wait for these boxes of print work to arrive. And then I'm carrying like 2 cases on my own to the Excel.
How far away, like, is the commute from your place to MCM?
Oh, bloody hell. It's into London.
Yeah.
Schmoonify, ask Gareth. How far is that? Let me look that up. I tell you what, let me look that up.
All right. Oh, me, did Mike just erase the entire drawing? Yeah, that happens a lot. The drawing's been turning out all right, but I've just been getting sloppy. I think it's just time I need to switch up mediums. That's why I think I need to pull out paintbrushes and paint for a while. I think drawing's making me too anxious. I've been only doing drawing for a little while now, and I think I need some paint. I'm just too... If I get anxious when I'm making art, I try to make the art too fast, and then next thing you know, there's all this messy shit everywhere. So I think it's time to switch up mediums, bust out the paintbrushes, and feel something a little fresh.
Okay, so Google reckons it's just over an hour, but it takes longer than that because I'm dragging cases with me.
Right.
Yeah, Shroomify says it's roughly an hour or so. Depends on where you're staying. Yeah, I'm not staying there, so I'm just going to the Excel and then coming back. So it's roughly an hour, but you have to factor in the fact that I'm carrying massive cases and rucksacks and stock, so it takes me longer to walk between stations. Mm-hmm. Plus the fact that I am inept at traveling. So I will guaranteed get lost at some point. And be like trying to lift 2 cases up a flight of stairs or something. So it's technically an hour. But it's
for someone who's not you, it's an hour.
Yeah, for anyone else, it's an hour.
For you, it's 4.5 hours.
Yeah, no, you're not even kidding, right? So from here to Lakeside is like 30 minutes or something. Lakeside is like the big local shopping centre, right? That's like 40 minutes max, maybe, right? Mm-hmm. On the train. It took me 3 hours to get there the last time I went. Because I just kept getting on the wrong trains and I got lost, and none of the trains would go the direction I wanted them to go, and I didn't know why I was in Purfleet. Every time I try to get anywhere, I end up in Purfleet, and I don't understand why.
Purfleet?
Purfleet is the place you end up when you don't want to be there. No one deliberately goes to Purfleet. Purfleet is one of the train stations, like between where I live and Lakeside Shopping Centre. Everyone wants to go to Lakeside Shopping Centre or London or Grays. Those are the 3 places anyone cares about on the entire like train line, right? And I always get on the train that instead of going to Lakeside, takes me to goddamn Purfleet, and then I'm stuck in Purfleet, and it's like you got to take a train back from Purfleet towards my home to then get on another train to go back towards Lakeside. It's bullshit. Someone needs to fix those trains.
Yes, I'm sure it's the train's fault. That you never know where the hell you're going when you're trying to go somewhere.
No one understands how I do this. Like, literally, I will be on a train station, and I will be calling my boyfriend, and I'm like, I don't know where I am. I don't know how I got here. If I didn't have Gareth with me, I probably would have been totally lost all the time too. Don't try and, like, convince me that I'm a normal human being.
London is confusing. I mean, well, I was there very briefly.
This is literally a straight train journey. You just have to get on the right train, and somehow I never do.
See, if you're not even transferring trains or anything, then yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
You literally aren't swapping trains, or unless if it's a certain time of the day, which I think is what screws me up. There's a certain time of the day, which I think is rush hour, where you have to get off a train at Grays and change to the next train. Like, no one cares about this, but you have to get off a train and swap to another train. And every time it's that day, I just get stuck at Grays and no trains come. Literally, I did this trip. And I got so fed up, I came home before I got to Lakeside. I came home after hours of trying to get there and was just like, I give up.
It's hard because I can totally picture the overwhelming stress of the situation, but in hindsight, it's just hilarious. You just show up back home, you're like, I can't even do it. I don't even know how to go there.
I was like almost in tears. I was so upset. And I almost did that on the 3-hour journey, and that was my birthday. It was my birthday and no one was home. So I just wanted to take myself out and buy myself a video game at Game. That's all I wanted to do. And it took me 3 hours to get there. And I was exhausted, and I was hungry, and nowhere made gluten-free food, and it sucked, right? And the only person I can blame is myself.
That's when it's even worse. You're like, it is all my fault.
And I'm like ringing people, and I'm like, I don't know where I am. And my boyfriend's at work. He's doing his real-life job, and he's having to answer me on the phone and explain how the trains work. And it's like, how am I not an adult that can cope with life yet? Why am I not there yet? So if everyone could wish me luck for tomorrow getting to London, that would be great.
Oh my god. Did I just make the same mistake in the drawing I made last time? Did I just make this dog's head the same wrong size?
Probably. That's how art works.
I don't even know anymore.
That's on the podcast because you're too busy talking about stuff.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's harder than people realize.
Everyone who's been on the podcast has learned really quickly how hard it is to do this. And I can say this now. Ever since we switched to OBS and Twitch, it has only gotten harder. It is really hard to do.
I'm so glad I'm not the one who's like mainly having to deal with it. It's so much more complicated now. It was bad enough when I was originally running it. That would stress me out originally. This is like 10 times the complexity level of what I was dealing with. Even then, like, even people who aren't dealing with that, every guest we've ever had on is like, holy shit, how do you cope?
Yeah.
They're like, I made something that would normally take me 10 minutes and it took me 4 hours. It's like, yep.
There's a reason that even like the most watched channels are still relatively kind of sloppy looking when they do it, you know? Like, it's clean. I mean, not like the most watched, like where it's like a huge full production, but on popular channels where it's still a stream, there's a reason that it's still kind of raw, you know?
There's a reason why every now and then you hear someone cursing at Skype. There is a reason for that. Which, by the way, we do think... I did it wrong again, fucking Christ. We do think that we might have solved the technical issue that's been barring us from getting guests on.
Yes.
I had aimed to have it up and running just before MCM, but life happened, so unfortunately I've not been able to do that. But it shouldn't take much longer. Fingers crossed, we've figured it out.
Yes.
And we should be able to have guests on very, very soon. We've just got to do a few test runs and make sure it actually genuinely does work.
And it's such a weird roundabout way that we have to do it. It's like...
Oh, you guys, if you could see the setup we've had to make, you would think it was the dumbest shit you've ever seen. You'd be like, surely there's a better way to do this. And we would be like, nah.
And we'd be like, not in OBS, there isn't. Like between Skype and OBS, Skype being like, nah, you don't need multiple windows in a call. Why would you need that? Just have it switch in one window. Why would you need two windows at once? That's a very simple thing that we don't feel like doing.
It's just because of the bizarre complexity of this show, because we will have people on, like, if this were just a talk show and it was just people's faces, then it would be completely different. But very often we have people on this show, like myself included, who are working on digital tablets, so we need
to share screens.
Video footage of the face and sharing screens, and that's where it gets 10 times more complicated than it should be. It's fine with 2 people, it's dealable. Once you get more than 2 people, everything starts going wrong for some unexplained reason.
I'm supposed to be drawing a dog. Yeah, we're getting there. We have it figured out now. So now it's all doable. Now we just need to do the parts that we know how to do.
We should have it by now. Yeah, we just have to, like... We're working on polish right now, and then we can do a full test run, and if it works, then boom, go ahead. We've got people who've, like, been contacting us for a while who want to be on, so... And if there's anyone here who wants to be on the show and talk about their realm of art and their lives and all that jazz, then do get in contact with one of us, and when it's all set up and we know it works, we can start organising that.
Well, have a good night, Azantu. Thank you for joining us. And
I
like Ryan
do
Sheldon.
Click the little heart somewhere on your screen so that you get notified when we next go live, and then you can jump back in and we can share your artwork as well.
Yes. And then, like Ryan says, I'm usually pretty fast on the show unless I'm hungover.
Yep. Yeah.
Elbow, do we have to be hungover like Ryan?
The amount of times that Ryan has saved my life.
Yeah, being on the show.
Is unbelievable. Yeah.
The times that I hit him up an hour before the show, like, hey, guess who's on the show today?
Ryan's like, dude, life happened and I can't deal with it. And Ryan is my superhero. He like jumps into my life with a plaid-coloured cape.
Like
and a little hat.
Let's see here. This was supposed to be a relaxing dog drawing. Feel like whatever the equivalent is of when the dog like goes through the trash when you're not home, this dog was doing to my drawing as I'm trying to draw it. Alright. Well, you know, it's better than it was. I still don't feel like I did the proportions right. It's also because I'm kind of at an awkward angle. I have this kind of thing where I lean... The reason this drawing's always kind of at an angle like this during the podcast is I'm trying to lean it towards me, but I can only do it so much, but I don't want it to be too off angle from the camera. And then the hard thing is I have to be back from it. So I'm looking at it in perspective at an awkward angle. To look at it straight, my head would have to be like here. But then, you know, my head's over the drawing, or I have to be like way above it.
A few years back, I was doing some regular YouTube videos, a lot of which I've disabled all the comments and all of them now, which will make sense in a second. And I've basically deleted a whole bunch of them as well because I don't like the production quality of them. But I was making YouTube videos quite some time ago, and I didn't realize at the time how important it is the fact that you are like parallel to your drawing surface.
Oh god, it's so important.
I genuinely, I'd never been in a situation where I wasn't parallel to it, so I didn't realize it was a problem. And for the YouTube video, I had the tripod for the camera like that, so I had to sit back here and my paper was over here. So I'm drawing like that and like looking kind of like an angle to it, kind of like that kind of plane. And I finished the drawing and then I went to go and look at it on the camera, and the character's legs, holy cheese, their legs was like double the size of the rest of their body. It was insane. And it was like this really long, stretched out character. And I realized it was because of the angle I was at. And you don't realize until you have to do something dumb, like try and film yourself drawing, how much of like those tiny little things that you naturally fix and want to be correct about, the moment you mess with them, it really changes a lot, like to a massive degree. It really throws off like your proportions and stuff.
Oh, and that's the thing is I can say, like, so many times I bet you people are struggling with proportions and scaling on their drawings, and it's just because they don't have they're not sitting at a good angle to the paper.
Oh yeah, definitely younger eyes as well, like, because they won't recognize, they'll just know there's something slightly off and they don't know what it is.
Yeah, what's causing it.
Yeah, because if you know my proportions are off, you can kind of start to like narrow down what could cause that. But if you're like a really new artist, you might just think, why don't my pieces look like so-and-so's pieces? I don't understand. And it could literally be something as simple as you are sitting awkwardly. Like, yeah. It genuinely could be.
Oh, God. I should draw animals more. I don't practice this enough. This was supposed to be fun. This was supposed to be a fun dog drawing.
Bear in mind, with animals, you are going to see more mistakes than anyone else will. Right. Because with animals, like, you can make mistakes and everyone corrects it because they're used to so much diversity in animals. Whereas you know what bits you didn't necessarily get absolutely perfect. I find that kind of freeing when I'm drawing animals because I feel like, I didn't get the ear shape exactly right, or I didn't get the body shape exactly right. Like, I got it close enough. As long as you get it believable, then you're fine, really. Unless it's like a very specific commission. Mm-hmm. Most of the time it's like, as long as someone can believe that it's correct, it's like, meh.
I was thinking about, like, commission level accuracy with any type of portraiture, how difficult it actually is. And I was thinking about, like, I don't think there's anything I do in art that is more difficult than portrait commissions. Like, 'cause I've really thought about it, and I was like, you know what, even if you look at a lot of classical art, we all think, oh, it's great, that's cool. We don't know if it actually looks like the person.
No, we don't. That's what's so funny to me. We don't know if it does. Except for if there are, like, witness statements that say it looked so accurate. Like, for example, apparently there's a lot of written statements about John Singer Sargent that say that he was particularly known for how close a likeness he got.
Right.
But we don't know about Leonardo da Vinci or... Like, we don't
especially with Renaissance. I mean, Jesus, look at those Renaissance faces. There's no way everybody looked like that. That's like nightmare material. When if you had to translate a Renaissance face to an actual person, you are in a nightmare. That is horrific.
Oh my God.
That'd be like some creature crawling around on Pan's Labyrinth. That is like, and that's the thing is, unfortunately now, everyone can see, like, the exact reference photo, or if you're doing a commission, it's a person they know and love in their life. So if anything's off, it will just cease to look like the person anymore. And it is so difficult. It's so hard.
Yeah, I found, now that I'm doing, like, particularly the RGDs, now that I'm doing a lot more RGDs, mm-hmm. I found a weird hypocrisy in my art that doesn't make entire sense to me. In the past, I've talked about the fact that I really struggle to draw people that I know.
Right.
Like, if I know someone very well, I find it hard to draw them because I feel like I can't observe them.
Yeah.
Like, accurately, if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe it. We've talked about it plenty before.
Right.
But I have recently discovered that if I have a person in front of me or a video of someone and I can see how they act as a human being, I am so much better at like capturing them, at painting something that I think genuinely looks like them, and that I get the most like, oh my god, it looks just like them, da 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 reactions. If it's like someone in front of me. Whereas if I'm just working from a photograph of someone I've never met, it's like, it looks good, but it doesn't necessarily like absolutely look like them. And I've been wondering about it lately, because I do make stylizations when I'm working with someone in person, that I don't. I'm more accurate to like measurements and stuff with photographs. Mm-hmm. And I've been wondering if those stylizations based off of their personality are what people pick up on, because they're the things that people maybe change themselves when they look at their friend or their mum or whatever. I don't know. It's been something that's been intriguing me lately. That's
a really interesting idea, and maybe it just has a lot to do with being able to also see them from multiple angles. Like, I think like, when I draw my face, I always struggle, because you know what your face looks like and when something's off. It's really noticeable. And there's like an instinct in you. If you see your image and something's wrong with it, you're like, "Am I sick?" That's like tens of thousands of years of evolution being like, something's wrong, you know. Yeah. But it's this weird thing where if I look at my face straight on and a profile on my face, if you had put a hat on my head, put two different hats on me, because my big giant bald head makes me pretty recognizable. But if you give me pretty much, especially if you give a person like two different haircuts and you have a picture of their face straight on and a profile picture, and then you just scramble it in a bunch of other photos, it would actually be pretty hard to match the faces.
Yeah. Unless you've got like someone really distinctive. If you've got people who are similar, it can be really easy to mix them up.
Yeah.
Hello, Tinadrill. Welcome to the party. It's not a DAC podcast without at least one rip on Damien Hirst. Or a reference to Banksy, I feel like.
Yes.
They're the two that we're going to right now.
Yeah, it's always...
Or Tracy Emin's always a little bonus one to throw in. I just heard you just be like, ugh.
My favorite art. I'm just wondering. Every time I see a piece of art and it's like one of the neon signs with just a word or whatever, I'm just like, how is this still? How many of those did we need? Yeah. Did this really need to be like a genre, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, it's the thing. I got an interesting comment, which I always think that a lot of people are exposed to the kind of art that they don't like. I think there's an art for everyone, and I think often people are exposed to the thing that they're like, oh, that's so pretentious, or that's awful, it makes no sense, like stuff like that, and they dismiss all art and never get a chance to discover the stuff that will genuinely make them amazed or that they would love to create themselves, right?
Right.
And recently someone came up to me, like a family member came up to me and was relaying comments from a friend of theirs. So it was like person. And they were relaying the fact that they were saying that my art was better than anything in the local galleries, which obviously is a very, very kind compliment. It's flawed, but it's a very kind compliment.
You're like, I appreciate it. You're wrong, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it was very funny to me because it was like, it was just because they were looking for what I did when they look at my website. Like, they were looking for detailed landscapes and expressive character design and a particular style of portraits, whereas the local galleries are not that. Yeah. A lot of them are very abstract artwork, very impressionistic. It's whatever the opposite of concept art is. It's the opposite of that. And I found it really funny because I think a lot of members of the public feel that way. They look at like the artwork that they're forced to be exposed to. So let's take Damien Hirst and Tracy Emin. Mm-hmm. That's what is shoved in your face as this is the art world often, from just like a superficial point of view. And I think to some people that is going to be their great piece of artwork that they love, but I think for a lot of people it really isn't, and then they miss out on seeing this enormous art world of so many people online and in galleries that they, oh god damn it, I keep doing the same goddamn mistake. That they never get the chance to discover because they dismiss it at whatever the piece of art is that they don't like, but is hailed as being fine art or the future of art or whatever.
The new fill in the blank.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder how long we're going to have to wait until it's acceptable in the art world to finally admit that abstract painting's easier to do than representational painting.
I don't know about that sentence.
Yeah, it's a doozy one. I think about it a lot, though, because I feel like I spend... Yeah. The line that made me really think, actually, was my friend Simon had pointed out, is... Because I grew up, there's a lot of abstract painting I love. Some of my favorite pieces are, like, Diebenkorn's Ocean Parks, and obviously I like all of Richter, but then, like, some Hans Hofmann, I like Rothko, and those things. But there was a point that... Every now and then, like, a friend says a line, and you're like, that's just... I can't get it out of my head. And the thing my friend Simon said is he said... It was about abstract expressionism, and he just said, I just hit a point where I'm really tired of having to try to defend it. And I was like, huh. And that was a good point. Yeah. I mean, it was like...
I see that.
It's like, okay, like, if we have to constantly defend it, it's like, where is... And that's probably culturally, we're in a time right now where I think abstract art it's not really hitting younger culture as much. It's not really connecting, and it was already kind of a hit or miss with kind of older generation, so it's in a really weird place. But I remember specifically being in school, and everyone always said, hey, all these abstract artists, they could paint representational if they wanted to, but they don't. And I'm like, no, a lot of them can't.
No, I don't necessarily think that.
Some of them can, and they're great at both.
And some really can.
Some can't. A lot of them can't.
I do think, like a lot of them can't, but a lot of representational people can't necessarily make good abstract either.
That's true. But if I had to put money on who would win the contest if they had to switch roles, I would definitely put my money on the representational painting abstract team. Yeah.
I think it's just because, and I know you have as well, but I know I've tried going abstract, and it was fun, It was genuinely really fun. But in all honesty, I did not know what I was doing. And it makes me wonder, do the majority of abstract artists know what they're doing? I know that some definitely do, because you can tell, because you look at it and you think,
yeah,
that's a splodge on a painting, but for some reason it makes me feel. And there's science and knowledge behind that, right? There's planning that's made that happen. But I don't know. It's something that I just honestly, I don't know how I feel about it.
It's a different, well, it's just that whole different approach, because, with...
we've got a question.
Oh, okay.
Do you mean non-objective, or do you mean abstract? Also,
I guess
Drusenthal says, hope the stream is going well.
I would kind of include a lot of it, because the thing is there's non-objective can get tricky when you're really, it can all get hard if you're really battling material. And let's say you need to do something with perfect clean lines, or, just trying to find, what you're doing is you're dealing with, you're trying to find a vision and a concept that's rooted a little less in reality than other things, and then that's where the challenge starts coming in, is how do you make it special? How do you make it not just look like a bunch of random shit? And I feel like abstract art,
that's the clever bit.
Abstract art kind of suffers from the struggle that a lot of photography can suffer from, where it's easy to enter and hard to master. So everyone, they have a phone that takes pictures, they all think they're photographers now. And a lot of people, when they paint abstract, they think they're great painters because they make a lot, some abstract paintings.
Well, but, I think you get that with all sides of art. Like, everyone who's made a Sonic OC thinks they're a concept artist. It's just a thing.
Right. I just feel like some things, since the barrier of entry is a little easier. Like, if you're doing, a pretty representational portrait, if it looks bad, you're going to be like, ooh. Like, it's easier to notice.
No, but I think a lot of people can't see that. I have had people in my life who genuinely can't see the fact that what they've drawn is not objectively good.
Right.
And yet they're like, I am a concept artist, I am a character creator, I am a figurative artist.
Right.
And it's like, well, every single fundamental of the art world is incorrect in this image, but okay. And as you say, the barrier of entry is so much easier. You can take a photo of your little drawing on a piece of paper, upload it into Instagram, and have 1,000 people see it in an hour. You can do that now. And you can do that with, like, I agree that with abstract art, it can be easier to convince people, perhaps, that it's a good piece of artwork. But I think if you're basing it off of how you yourself feel, I think the barrier of entry is closing in a lot of aspects of art.
It's weird because I remember when I was learning about it, I would see a lot of things, a lot of justification. And then after, it was like the more time I experience around the art world, the harder it's been to defend a lot of abstract art. The more I've seen people praise abstract art that actually wasn't too great, but the more I've seen people use abstraction as a crutch, the more I've seen people that are newcomers in art that just go straight to abstract without learning the concepts and are able just to talk through it. The more I've seen people that were trying to learn representational and then it never looked very good, and then they just happened to just spend a lot of time making abstract work, and it's like, all right, so what you learned is you learned how to push paint, and you learned how to do the mark making proper and to make decisions and bold decisions, but there is a certain kind of lack of discipline in a lot of it that can be frustrating. With a lot of good abstract art, you're going to see the foundations will still be strong.
Yeah, you can tell the difference very quickly. You can see the difference between someone who's just come out of college and thinks they're all that, and makes like 10 pieces of abstract art in a day, and thinks they're the god of art, and makes their exhibition about it, and still talks about the fact that they've got 10 GCSEs. You can see that person, and then you can see the person who has worked for 50 years in abstract art and makes one piece for one gallery, and you have to stand there and stare at it for hours, and you don't understand why.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
And the thing is, I make that statement about abstract art not being as difficult, not necessarily because I entirely believe it, because it's like, you know what, I want to say something like that, and then I want to see it be defended. Like, I want to see the other. I want to see things opposed to me, because
that's kind of the point of this show.
Yeah, because I'm seeing too much shit where I feel like it's a little too easy to make that statement right now, and it almost seems passable. And I don't want to believe what I just said about it, but I really want it to be proven wrong, because I feel like
I think
when something gets weaker, I feel like we need to start like pressuring it so it needs to defend itself a little.
Yes, that can go good ways and bad ways. That can cause like forced art. We've had that in the gaming industry lately, where something is pretending that it's art, when in fact video games, to be honest, are an art form in themselves. You don't need to push it. You can make a fantastic video game that could be reserved as an art piece without having to try and convince everyone it's so fantastic. So it has to be under the wings of someone who knows what they're doing. But yeah, I feel like that statement, I find it truthful and also not truthful at the same time. It's weird. I have a weird relationship with that sentence, because my gut reaction is, it's not as skillful, because I've got to train for like fucking 20 years or something to be able to paint a face that people like, or whatever thing you choose. There is like, just take concept art for example, because you do have to have every discipline for that. You are then doing a massive range of disciplines just to be able to create one art form, and you need years in education, like structured education, and you need not talent, but like a raw understanding that can be cultivated and stuff like that. Like, it's such an intense subject that it's hard to compare other things unless you are looking at similar disciplines, like animation, for example. You wouldn't say that animation was easy under any level.
Yeah, no.
But then when you compare it with something that is so different, I want to say that I don't believe you.
Right.
Because I can't do abstract artwork. I know I can't. It was fun, but I know I can't do anything that would stand up to anyone else.
Right.
But at the same time, I wonder if my reaction isn't necessarily that I don't have a faith in abstract art, but perhaps I don't have a faith in the people judging it. So perhaps I don't have a faith in the galleries that deem whether it is good enough or not. And the amount of times where we've seen so-and-so puts, this isn't abstract, but so-and-so puts a pineapple in a museum, and then everyone wanders around it and thinks it's artwork, and none of the staff pick it up because they're like, oh yeah, how observational, or whatever, like, whatever. I feel like I've lost faith in the powers that be, whatever they are in the art world, being able to judge and cultivate an abstract art scene that is powerful and skillful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's the really good point. And a way to look at it is it does feel like a lot of it is a certain loss of faith. You know, I think I spent a lot of like my time around galleries more previously than currently. Currently, I feel much better. Like currently, I'm seeing a lot more abstract art that I like, and that's been really nice.
Same. Same. Couple of years, I've seen a really big boom, particularly in London, of abstract or non-observational, non-figurative, whatever you want to call them. I don't know the differences between particular titles. Whatever you want to call it, I've seen more artwork like that genuinely makes me stop and have to stare at it.
Right.
Instead of it feeling like, a lot of the time it feels like either it's a joke, like it's a play on lol, I could get this in a gallery, or lol, this is art. Sometimes it does often feel like that. Like Damien Hirst's dots on a canvas, and it's literally a dot, and it's worth like $1 billion. And it's like, really, are you just making fun of the art world at this point? Which probably, the answer is probably yes. Or it feels like this was designed so that it would sit on the back wall of some corporate building, right? Often there's that. It's like, this exists to not be seen. It exists to create an atmosphere for a room, but not for anyone to observe it. And then lately, I've seen a lot more abstract artwork that I see and I want to stop and stare at it for ages.
Right.
And I don't have the knowledge to know what the difference is between those, except on an instinctual level. But I am glad that clearly there is hopefully there is a wider access to creating abstract art, that we are getting the opportunity to see these more powerful and interesting pieces, and less of stuff that feels like it's being created for just the sake of being created.
Right.
That makes sense. Which is fine, but
it's an interesting thing where a lot of times I feel like I have to like be careful and protect the things I say, but it's like, you know, deep down in my heart, a lot of my earliest most powerful influences on how I make art are from abstract art and abstract artists. But in my own personal experience over time, I'm just it's going to be interesting because I'm going to be making some abstract paintings soon. Like, I'm kind of prepping them and getting ready for that. And it's like a respite. It almost feels like I'm doing it to take an art vacation. And it's interesting because it's a whole different mindset at that point.
Yes, I did feel like when I was I did some abstract artwork it was very Kandinsky inspired. Some abstract artwork for school for my like final project like years back. And it felt, it was probably the most fun I'd ever had with art, which is so strange. Like, I enjoy artwork, it's a massive part of my life, but it was genuinely the most fun I'd ever had with the process of making artwork.
Right.
And for me personally, like, that gave me a massive new insight to a whole world of art that I'd never even thought about before. And it made me feel like, I wonder how much of that process is, like, how much it's worth, or like to the person and monetarily, is how much fun it was, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like how much was felt.
Well, it's funny because like my relationship with art was never, you know, and I'm sure you feel this too, and I can't speak for you, but like it was never, I don't make art because it's fun. So when I'm in an instance where I'm making it and it is fun, it's just kind of like, oh, this is nice. But that's kind of like, for some people, that's like their whole relationship with art, you know, is like they don't do art if it's not fun. But it's like that never, but that was weird because I understand why that would be the case, but that's never been a part of my life, the idea of just doing art because it's fun.
Not once. It's been...
when I was younger, I had fun doing it. Like when I was, you know, drawing roller coasters because I love roller coasters. But I think it's because I felt like I needed to make a drawing of a roller coaster more.
See, I feel like I've had like an acceptance with myself where I've gone, you are being dumb. I've looked at myself and I've gone, self, you are dumb. Because I've remembered how much I adored the process of art. Like, I loved it. And I'm not sure if I can describe it as fun in the same way as making abstract was, because abstract was physically fun. It was like I was jumping all over the place, throwing paint all over the place. Like the physical making process was fun. But I had always loved the creative process, and I had always loved the process of coming up with characters. Like, everything I did as a kid, it didn't matter what was happening in the room. Anything could be happening in that room. Regardless, I would be sat on the floor in the corner, covered in papers and pens, designing Pokemon or superheroes or dinosaurs, right? That's what I was doing. And I would pick that over playing video games. I would watch video games as other people played them, and I would be sat in the corner drawing because that was what was fun to me.
Right.
And I've had to have this like sit down with myself and been like, if you love making characters so much, why is that not what you're doing right now?
Right.
Like, if that's the whole reason you got into it, was to sit there and come up with stuff, then that's what you should be doing, no matter how hard it is or how difficult it is to get there. And that was the sit down that I had with myself that led to me going, okay, I'm going to try and train to be a concept artist. Because it was this weird feeling of like, I should have been doing that anyway. I was just too afraid that I might not be good enough. And I've now decided you should do it anyway. You should get there anyway. And if you don't get there, oh well, at least you tried.
Right.
That's what I'm doing to myself at the moment. But I can't imagine genuinely not having fun whilst drawing. The only reason why a lot of the time now I don't have fun when drawing or painting is because my process is so much longer now. Like I can't just sit there and have a little piece of paper out and doodle something and it be done. Now I have to sit there and spend a very long process figuring out what the color palette needs to be and figuring out what the composition has to be and figuring out how to use the rule of thirds or whatever, or the golden ratio or whatever, to maximize impact, and in what ways will this be reprinted, and therefore what changes need to be made, and what resolution does it have to be. There's a load of bullshit around it.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what hinders most of my enjoyment, because then if I'm in particular doing something that's like a random commission for someone else, it's like draw my 10 characters, then I have to sit there and do all of that and not enjoy the process I enjoyed the most, which was the coming up with a character. Because somebody's already gone, just do it, like, here's a thing, just paint it. And it's not a character that in any way I have an investment in, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't know. It's strange. I do think that even when I am at my lowest and my most stressed, though, there is at least one part of the process that I do enjoy at any one point. There will always be a part of the process that brings me happiness. Even if I don't have the motivation or the drive to go through it, I'll do it anyway, and I will find that eventually. Even if that happiness is the zoning out point. Like, you know when you're drawing like a certain pattern or like hairs or something, and you're on like hair number 400,
mm-hmm.
and you're like just drawing a repetitive line, and you just like zone out.
Yeah.
I find that incredibly relaxing. That is like, I think that's the only thing that's kept me sane in these like 24 years on this planet.
That's so funny because I mean I've had instances where it felt pretty good, but in some of my landscapes with that, it was like driving me crazy because because it was just, well, at the time I wasn't making enough art to show it anywhere. So I'm like, I need to finish these paintings, and then I only have like 2 hours in my day that I could allot to painting, and so I'm doing these little lines, and I'm like, come on, just be done. I need to make more art, and it was driving me crazy.
Yeah, I totally get that, because the majority of it was during the creation of the books. So once it got to crunch time, then it's like, well, shit, I need 10 pages done a day. You need to hurry up. But when you are working for like, let's say 15 hours a day ish, when you're working at those kinds of hours, like to the point where I got up to like 36 hours a day, when you're
36 hours a day.
Correct. Every time I say that, someone's like, that's not how many hours are in a day. Exactly. I didn't sleep.
Oh,
right?
I get what you mean. Right. Okay. That makes sense.
It was like, so I was working for like 36 hours, having a nap for like 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
When I literally was passing out at the table, and then coming back and doing another like almost 2 days.
Right.
And when you're at that stage, you don't have a choice. You have to zone out, right? You just do. And it was I think that's the only reason why I could do it, was because so much time, and it probably sounds insane, but so much time I was zoned out in not even like thinking, not even aware of what was happening in the universe. I was just existing and lines were happening on a page.
Right.
And then a book happened somehow.
On that note, because I remember being in that kind of crunch time myself. Any abstract painters want to chime in on their 36-hour day? I'd love to hear from you.
I would be really intrigued to hear from an abstract painter and hear what their process is like, and hear do they have crunch time? Do they have things like that? Oh God.
Oh, I'm sure they do. I like giving people a hard time. That way they have to defend themselves.
Because there must be distinct changes. There must be distinct differences, and there also must be distinct things that are exactly the same. And I would be really interested to hear from a professional abstract painter, what is your life like? What do you do?
From my own personal experience with abstract painters I've worked with, it's the process where it differs for them is they definitely do crunch time. I just like busting people's balls. But the process with them is it's the work on 10 paintings at once, and then over time as they finish, and then you'll have a lot more that like won't work out. They'll have to keep kind of painting. Whereas usually it's always good to be working on a few things at once regardless, but it tends to be very much more one at a time when you're doing representational.
Yeah, it's like you might be working on 3 different projects at most. Yeah.
But yeah, abstract, you'll literally, in lots of cases, you'll have like 4 paintings on the wall, and you're using just the paint across like 4. You're doing this one, and you move over, and you know what I mean? And like...
That makes sense, yeah, because like often they do have the same palettes within them for like a certain set.
Right.
That makes sense.
I'm just starting to raise my eyebrow a lot at abstract art, because I do feel like in a certain instance in art history in America, I can only speak in America, is that it got a little bit of a free pass into the art market because it was a tool of American freedom, and it was very easy to capitalize on due to quantity, and you know what? And so, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to bust balls on it now. And so, because eventually when I when people make a fool of me, that what we're left with is I'm fine. I'm fine with being made to look stupid and being made a fool of. That's fine. I can manage that. I'm very willing to have that happen to me so we can end up with a lot of great knowledge and awesome abstract paintings. So, so prove me wrong, and then let's look at let's learn about some sweet ass art,
Yeah, teach us, dude.
That's what it's for. And I only do it in the ball busting way because sometimes that's the only way you can get people to, bust balls back.
No, shut up. You do it because you find it fun.
I do find it fun.
You do find it fun.
Much Meaty Elbow's comment back here that said Mike's inevitable regression into conservatism. Time to ship him off to Utah to teach art history.
Oh my god.
It's the Utah that wore off on me. And the funny thing is it's a funny art. It's funny to be here kind of like defending like a more conservative traditional art, because all I do, if people in the Bay Area know me, is bitch about how much more conservative the Bay Area is getting. And like,
really?
Oh, it makes me angry. I shouldn't even go down that road.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't match the narrative that is sold to the rest of the world.
Oh, it's here. My rule is everyone thinks they're liberal until money's involved, and then suddenly, and then suddenly everyone starts getting real conservative very fast.
That's interesting to me because I feel like this is a dig at myself as well. So no one take offense of this, unless if you're a professional offense taker, in which case go ahead, it's your job. Right. I feel like being a liberal is the most consumerist you can be right now.
Right.
Because I feel like everything is aimed at liberals.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is, too, I just also learned recently that the term liberal has a pretty different definitions between different countries.
Oh, yeah. That really confuses me because, I hear people bitching about different types of liberalism on Reddit.
Right.
And it doesn't, and then I sit here at home, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And I Google it, and because I'm getting British Google,
right,
then I get what I think liberalism is, and then I look at it, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Right. Right, and it's and there's different.
Liberalism is like all based around tolerance, which I think is not.
Yeah, it gets tricky because it used to be that kind of idea, like it used to be associated. I mean, in my head, growing up, is associated with a certain level of like progressivism, but actually, it's not necessarily that now. Especially now, as people politics started addressing neoliberalism, and then things got confusing.
Yeah, exactly. And it got too complicated. And you've also got, you guys have such a fucked up view of what socialism is. It's so funny to me. The American view on the differences between socialism and communism is so hilarious to me.
Right.
When I compare it to, the world that I've grown up in, it's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Which it is funny, though, that there is that misunderstanding, yet at the same time, the most popular politician in the U.S. is a socialist. Anyways.
Who's that?
I mean, pretty much the highest approval of it, being the Bernie Sanders, and then all that. And a lot of people argue, oh, no, I don't agree with him. Well, sure, but the person that has kind of reached that wide range, that is a politician that's very popular in the U.S., that grew from next to nothing, was on a socialist platform in this country that could not be more scared of communism,
But it doesn't make sense that you guys. It's so funny to me. It's just so bizarre that you guys hear socialism.
Right, and think communism.
So someone says socialism and you guys think communism. It's so funny because it's so different.
Right.
In reality, if you lived in the UK,
you damn communist.
You guys would be like, oh my god, you communists at everything we do, and it would just be, it's just funny. It's just so weird.
Meaty Elbow was like, is it the evil tech industry bringing in their evil conservative values, and then called it. Well, let's just the funny thing is, though, is I don't believe that things that happen like that are intentional. anytime I feel like things are culturally...
I don't think people intentionally become
No,
communists. I think it just happens by accident.
Well, no.
You're walking along and then you have to like fight with the bourgeois.
Yeah.
And you can't stop that, really.
Bourgeoisie is keeping the proletariat down.
Yeah. I mean, really, what you can do?
Well, no,
it just happens one day. You go out for a packet of crisps, and you come back and you're fighting bourgeois scum. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, and the funny thing is, though, what happened is in the thing of the media call with the tech thing, is it wasn't that it was a intentional, hey, we got to get these artists the hell out of here kind of situation. It was just every time I see a comment that's
dude, can you imagine the meeting of like Microsoft, Google, PS4? They're all sitting in a room and they're like, we must kill the artists.
That would be... I would kind of just like that more. I would love it.
For that movie.
Oh, I want that to be the battle. I think everyone would win if that was the battle. But no, what ends up happening is every time I see someone say, well, if you can't afford to live in the city, just move. It's like, that's where I get concerned, because that is very much a pervasive mentality out here. Is the well, I don't get it. If you don't have the money, the you know.
The thing is that a lot of those statements at first make perfect logical sense. This is the problem. A lot of the time, you hear a statement and you think, that is correct. I agree with that. But then you hear everything that it means. Right. And you're like, I get it. Like, for example, I watched 13th, the documentary on Netflix, which is about the 13th Amendment.
Good subject matter. Not a very good documentary, but a good purpose in a very much needed to be seen, intelligent, everyone needs to know documentary. I just wish it was made better.
I haven't researched like the legitimacy of every claim.
I think it's a lot of it's legitimate. I just thought the way that they shaped the documentary, they shaped it too much.
Yeah, there were ways that it could have been improved. There were a few times where like it pissed me off in the way that it did certain things, but I let it slide and then it got better again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree there's criticisms there. But I feel like everyone should see the documentary. Yeah. Because I feel like it's a lot of knowledge that nobody really knows. And it was very intriguing to me to hear things like that, because a lot of the time they would say statements that the media had said or whatever, and it would make sense, and then it would explain the cultural and social impact on those statements and what it actually means and what they were used for, and it gains this such darker tone. And I'm not saying that that's what is necessarily happening with this in like modern, like in current times. I don't know. I don't necessarily believe that anyone's going out of their way to try and kick a bunch of artists out. I mean, they might, but I don't think they are. Right. But that's purely speculation. But it is interesting how you can see something and be like, I would absolutely believe that. Right. And then you're given a whole bunch of other information about social and cultural history and relationships with that sentence and what that actually means for that particular area, and suddenly it takes on a very different, darker tone that you would have originally dismissed.
It was interesting because I remember when we were building like FM in Oakland, like that is the first step of gentrification. I mean, I know it's like we get into politics. We usually don't like to cover politics, but it's like inevitably.
We're being very conceptual, though.
Well, yeah, well, inevitably, in art is going to intersect with politics, like whether you want it to or not. Like politics will happen to you.
It's not like we're sitting here being like, you should be this.
Well, no, I mean, there's room for anything, and in the same thing as where I grow concerned of increase in certain conservative values. It's not because I have something against conservatism. It's something that I grow concerned about because I know that there is a large population of people that don't believe in that same way in this place, that if this one mentality overtakes one, you're gonna disenfranchise a whole other group of people. Like when I was in Utah and a lot of people were conservative, it was kind of like, all right, well, you know, it's that thing. And then it went too far that one way, and as some more kind of progressive things came in, that was great, and that influenced one thing. And then I've seen the effects of the other side of being too far another direction when I was in California, where I'm like, okay, everything's all, this is all dandy here, but we're ignoring some issues, you know. But it's been interesting because
no, go ahead.
I was just saying, because what ends up happening though is, so obviously when we were making FM, that's the first step of gentrification. There was people like protesting the galleries as we were making them, as we were building the stuff.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of a lot of anarchists that were literally putting up flyers saying to that people should not chop at the galleries and actually harass us to try to damage the property and harass the people there.
What was their reasoning behind that?
Because what they were doing is there was under the belief that what we were doing was a first step of gentrifying the neighborhood, which it was, and that like it's the simple idea. If they bother us enough to leave, we leave, and then it doesn't get gentrified, and then the neighborhood doesn't get more expensive for the people living there. It's not, and it was interesting because I remember seeing that, and I was like, ugh, like this is a bummer. I don't like this, but at the same time, part of me was like a little relieved that people were concerned about it at that early stage. I didn't quite agree with the approach, but I understood why, and it was...
Was it just like you were glad that people cared about what happened to the local area?
Well, yeah, because there was an awareness, because it was a concern, and it was even a concern we had, because we knew once you make a gallery, if things are going well and it's a hip neighborhood, it's only a matter of time before more of the hip restaurants move in, and then more of the developers get real excited, and then they start buying up huge parts of real estate. And then it gets developed, and then lo and behold, like people. Here's the thing: is everyone. What bothers me is it was when things got kind of started to getting more fiscally conservative in the Bay Area. Everyone was kind of like, the mentality became very Darwinistic, and then I was talking to someone recently, and I was telling them how I'm concerned about the development everywhere, and everyone's like, what, you don't want like nicer, you like it when it was all these ghost town empty buildings everywhere, you don't want like good restaurants around, etc., etc. But it was like, listen, we have like really nice restaurants here now, and we have these nice little spots and businesses. We also have tent cities under every single overpass. If you came out here and you looked under all the overpasses in our city, you would be like, what the hell's going on? It's like dystopian.
What do you mean by tent cities?
Like literally, like there's so many homeless people. They are all have tents under every overpass. You'll find like 30 or 40 tents of people living on the street under the overpass.
Really?
Every one of
That's
them
mental.
in Oakland. That wasn't like that 5 years ago. It wasn't like that, but a lot of people were also.
Why has that area ended up like that? And like.
I mean, there's some reason. Sometimes they're literally other states are shipping homeless people here. There was in Nevada got in trouble. They were literally putting people on a bus and just sending them here. But a lot of people are being bought out of their homes, because the thing is they'll be broke. They're in their home. A developer comes in, offers them money, and they'll take it because they're broke, but they're not offering them a lot of money. They'll think it's a lot. They'll tell this tenant, like, hey, if you move out of your apartment, we'll give you $20,000 or something. Yeah. And they think, oh, I could use that money. I'll just live somewhere else. They move out. They weren't paying attention to what the real estate cost is, and then they realize you run out of that money real fast. And
that is fucked up.
Yeah, so they pay people to leave, and it's kind of like, so you see this development happening, and then also we have a heroin epidemic. That's not helping, like, out here. So, and it's where a lot of people are ending up. So a lot of people move out here and see this progress, but it's only because in that window there is progress, but it's a small window. Like, a lot more people are struggling,
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
Because like the image.
Yeah.
That is portrayed to the rest of the world of where you live is like this gorgeous place that everyone wishes they could be, and right. That's where all the new world is happening. And
yeah, as Demon Man says in the comments, I've traveled all over the U.S. I've never seen more homeless than I saw in San Francisco. Like,
Bloody hell.
most expensive city, all this growth. It's like a gold rush in SF right now.
I thought London was bad. London was bad. And that's like nothing. London is nothing, and that to me is bad. It's like you'll see maybe one person per street, max.
Right.
And to me, that's bad. To think of like...
I could like
so
take
many
pictures.
people.
Like I could literally jump on my bike right now, and in 5 minutes, I could take pictures of maybe 3 or 4 overpasses that literally have at least 30 to 40 people sleeping in tents under them.
That's horrifying. That's like...
Yeah.
That's like... I've only ever seen that in places that are flooded, or there's been a massive fire, or like there's a tornado or something. That's insane.
Yeah, it's that's the thing, is like that's why. I mean, in a way, I feel like a certain. I mean, I know it's a complicated issue, but I do know that our own art studio and gallery has to take a certain level of responsibility of what we did was contributing to a neighborhood eventually becoming unaffordable, you know?
Yeah, but that's not happened all over the world.
No,
right?
No, it's
like,
it's a lot of it's like it's, you know, the kind of the way the system we're in towards it.
There's a climate there that doesn't make sense, because yes, there are problems in every area of the world. Absolutely. Right. I'm not saying there isn't, but you can be in London and you can know the names of all the homeless people on your way. Like you can know them that well. You can be like, I know this guy's name, and he's the one that I visit him every day on my way to work, and you know, and he has a dog, and like all of that, right?
Like my homie Tony.
Like,
Tony's a good guy.
To think of like 30 people minimum on your way to it. That's mental. That is a like. That's not. Well, we had cute little shops and the Liberals showed up. That's a fundamental local government problem.
Right.
Like, that does make sense. That shouldn't be happening.
Well, and it's the thing is what scares me is the idea of and it's understandable. I mean, the more you earn, the more protective you get, you know. And the thing is like the wealthiest neighborhood in Oakland actually separated itself like as a different city so that their tax money wouldn't go to the rest of Oakland, because they felt that their money was being wasted on Oakland. And here's like a definition of the mentality is I was at a bar and I was hanging out, and then someone complained to me about how much they had to spend in taxes. Understandable frustration. But then they had said, oh, my friends, like, their car was stolen, and they were, you know, they ran down the street after it, and the person was shooting at them. And they're like, I pay this much in taxes. I shouldn't have to worry about this problem. And I was like, so if someone makes less than you and doesn't pay as much in taxes because they don't have as much money, they should have to have that problem? You know what I mean? Like, what was the implication of that statement? But that
what does that mean?
Yeah.
Surely the question there should be like a gun question, right?
Well, and then, but then the issue is just this thing where it's like, it's just be. I think, and that's what scares me, is because what the city needs right now is not. It's going through a big time of growth, and the last thing it needs when you have this much happening is, certain conservative policies that can't grow with that environment, and you know. And so what that does is that's going to clash locally because it doesn't. It's new to the environment. I think what a lot of people feel like, and a lot of artists in Oakland, a lot of them left. A lot of artists in the Bay Area moved, and they were frustrated. And there's this big kind of fight between frustration between the tech and the art world. Some people it works fine, but there's that frustration because, you know, the tech world's like, well, we're just working. Like, why are we being demonized? But then at the same time, there's people that were here and they've been here a long time, and now they have to leave. They have to move because someone with more money paid their landlord more, and now you have to leave. Like, if you're in your home and you pay your bills and you're paying it regularly on time, and suddenly you just have to leave because someone just had more money than you, you're like, you know, just to the person with the money, they're like, well, of course, I paid more, so I earned it. But the person that didn't have the money, they're like, that was my home. Like, didn't I have a right to have my home, you know?
That's crazy.
And
I can't imagine that happening here. Not to that level. Like, I can imagine similar things happening, but...
Yeah, I had my friend, they had to fight with their landlord twice because the landlord tried to raise the rent an illegal amount. And they fought it because the landlords usually do that, assuming that you're not going to try to fight it because you won't afford to have a lawyer that will fight it for you, or you just won't know that you can fight it. So usually they expect people to leave, but you actually can fight it and then stay. But eventually the landlord sold it, and they did that thing where you can't just boot people out of a place or raise the rent. But if the next owner is planning on living in that building, then you can boot the tenants. So what they do is you buy a building and it'll be like 6 units, and then you just have to convince the city that your whole family's going to live in those 6 units. And then you can boot the people living there and then raise the rent.
That's so weird.
Yeah, and so inevitably...
That's a similar thing that happened to someone I know. They were living in a place and they got booted because the landlord decided to sell the building to their son. Mm-hmm. So they got kicked out of the house immediately. It was like, you have 2 weeks to leave, even though you paid like a month's worth of rent already.
Right.
And they just had to, they were like contacting friends. They were like, I need a place to live.
Right.
It's crazy.
Ugh. I like this.
But I can't imagine that happening on such a widespread level. To me, that was like a case of like, holy shit, what the hell? Well,
yeah, and it's hard because the last thing needed in that environment is an idea of, the most offensive phrase to me right now out here is literally, if you can't afford to live there, you should just leave. To me, that was like telling people in New Orleans after they just lost everything and got flooded, like, why do you live below sea level? It's like, really? Like, everywhere a person can live is prone to a natural disaster. In the U.S., you could live in the Midwest and you get wiped out by a tornado, and everyone's like, why do you live where a tornado hits? You can live in California, why do you live where there's earthquakes? You know, there's...
Canada, why do you live where the face hurts you?
Yeah,
where
the cold hits your face. You know, there's like a million... Yeah. It's for anything. And so this idea that it's just like... And to me, it's almost like... kind of a weird economic shift like that is it's the equivalent of like a natural disaster in a way. Like it was a sudden overpopulation problem, you know, like
it's not just a case of like, well, you're a little down on your luck and you can't afford this house that you wanted anymore. Right. If it's that widespread, that's a genuine entrenched problem.
Right. And it's frustrating to see the battle between the tech and the art worlds because they actually share so many similar values and if there was this little kernel of politics could be resolved between the two communities, they could benefit so much from each other, you know. And they do, and they work together, and it's taking time. So it is good to see over time the bridge be formed, but it's hard because, you know, me being like from the art community, I need to learn to accept certain values within the tech community that I can take for granted or I could be too judgmental for. You know, like, out of all my opinions, I have to remember that there is a whole history of reasons that people feel the way they do because they have to deal with a whole set of circumstances that I've never had to deal with, so I don't understand, you know. So it's there is that the solution can be met, but it's still, I still feel like it's a ways away, and both sides have a lot of figuring out to do. I do like how Mediabo made, what was this comment? It says, Ryan Sheldon said, quote, kill the homeless, quote, Mike Steffen. It's like, oh boy, I hope that's not the message that people picked up here. Then Mediabo said, that's the way he read his stance on his opening his gallery. Shmoodify, you should see the homeless in Mexico. It's sad. Oh, man.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Ryan Sheldon, people left San Francisco because of the Great 49er collapse in 2013. Oh, salt. Everyone's in the chat's trying to find where the next hipster art city is going to be.
Yeah?
Yeah, the new spot. Lots of spots already taken, you know. Raleigh, North Carolina is already, like, too late. That's already getting expensive. Austin is being flooded with too many people now. Obviously, Portland's too much.
Austin, holy shit.
Yeah.
Rooster Teeth own that city now, I think.
Yeah, Austin. Salt Lake's even expensive. And you're going to see it anywhere, because admittedly, every city that's getting expensive is when the tech world's moving in. Just because it just has more money, you know? And people, when they move, they want to live somewhere with cool things. So, whoops, you know? And that was inevitability. And because the thing is, as artists, we can't just blame the tech world, though, because we also do it to ourselves. You know, anywhere artists live, they inevitably bring an expensive culture with them, you know? What I'm trying to say is we ruin everything, that's all. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I think you really have to have, like, a local council that genuinely cares about the social makeup of the town. Like, because there's so many places that I've visited that genuinely have a really nice ecosystem going on in terms of like they have cute little galleries and cute little tea shops and stuff, and at the same time they do have their businesses there, but it doesn't overrun it, and you have this nice ecosystem that works together, and you can't have that everywhere because that's not how the world works, right? That's not possible. But I do think you can, if you have a vision for a town, like, the council can protect that if it's felt needed.
Right.
But it has to genuinely care. A lot of the problem is, like, our local council, we've had massive problems with our local council. Like, seriously, over the years, we've had horrendous problems with our council. And you can just have a council that just doesn't care. They're in it for whatever, money or power or fame or something, I don't know. And unfortunately, I think that might be the more common situation.
Right.
But if you can tell when you're in a place that genuinely really cares about it, how it's made up and how it works and everything. I think a lot of European cities seem to be very good with that.
Right.
Like Rimini. When I was in Rimini this week, I thought it was very well done, the way they had this, like, reserved area. It was like the historic central that was reserved for all the historical and kind of like touristy bits of the city at the very center. And then as you went out, you could find the more built up areas where they're like they got like cranes everywhere and stuff. And it was like, there was a difference between different areas, which meant if you only wanted the cute little artsy historical area, you could go and live there, if that makes sense.
Right.
And obviously I don't know the details of like how expensive different places are. I'm sure there were big differences and I don't know in what ways they would be. But the big thing you have with cities and towns in Europe and in the UK and stuff is it doesn't take very long to get anywhere. So you can go and live in the more rural area if that's what you want.
Right.
And travel into the big city to work and it not feel so bad because you're only having to walk for 30 minutes or something, right? Whereas if you're in America, the town is the town. And then you have like a massive long road that you can see curve over the horizon before you get to the next city.
Right. Oh, and there's people that will literally drive an hour and a half to San Francisco to work, and where they live is still expensive. You know?
Yeah.
And then Media brings out a good point. He mentions Asheville, North Carolina kind of had the opposite problem. Lots of artists, no industry. And there's the problem with that model too. And absolutely. Because the thing is an art community needs people that can fund an art community. And in a lot of cases...
with European cities. Like you have European cities that you, for many years, seem to be doing very, very well.
Right.
You leave for a few years, you come back and they're dying because they have no money coming in because the money is not in art anymore, or it's not in whatever their thing was. It's in tech, and they don't have tech in any way. And it's like, oh geez. Like I saw that particularly in Fuerteventura. Fuerteventura, the last time I went, looked like it was dying compared to when I went there as a kid. It's crazy.
Well, let's also face it that a lot of artists, like, it's very common, a lot of artists are horrible about business, including me myself.
Yeah.
I've been involved with a lot of business things, but as far as my own business and business knowledge, I'm terrible, you know? And then people ask, well, Like, you ask me, like, Mike, what's your plan B if your business fails? I'm like, oh, just death. That's all I had. I didn't have another plan. And it's like, well, that might work for me. That does not work for a community that needs to build. And
corporations and stuff, yeah.
Well, and it was and that was an interesting thing, because I was trying to think of another place. Like, it's going to be interesting, I think, to see what happens with Detroit, because a lot of artists went to Detroit because it was so cheap after the industry left there. But I don't know. I don't hear a lot. I'm still waiting to hear kind of what happens with it. Yeah, there's music, and there's like a lot. There's art. There's an art scene that's growing and whatnot. And usually it needs to be a balance, because art alone is nifty, but you need. There needs to be people that can afford to buy the art, and then there also just has to be a certain level of industry to make an economy. Or else, then you're stuck the other direction, where everything's kind of just stagnant.
This was a weird topic to get onto.
Yeah, this whole podcast got really. It was all like we they mentioned it was the amendment cast again or whatever.
Yeah.
Our Constitution cast.
We dove in.
Yeah.
We dove in deep, guys.
I feel like I probably burned so many bridges on this one. I just go in, I just start shitting on abstract art and talk about fiscal policy. It's really.
Why doesn't everyone get super excited for the consumerist nightmare that is MCM that I'll be at this weekend? Are you ready for anime? Because I'm ready for anime. Are you ready for manga? I'm so ready for manga. Dude, I'm so ready.
Yeah,
I'm not ready. I'm not ready in any way. I'm very excited though for MCM. I need MCM. You guys need to come and give me hugs. I need it.
MCM's a big important MCM here. How do we get on such dark? Why was I talking about homeless people? I'm drawing a puppy, and you're preparing for like a comic convention. Why are we talking about all this shit? We should be talking about puppies and comics.
I should bring up, if anyone is coming to MCM, come say hi. I'm in Comic Village at CF 1 and 2. I'm right next to all the food, so like, you should come over and not be distracted by the food, because I feel like everyone's going to be distracted by the food. They're going to come near my table and they're going to be like, oh look, donuts, and they're going to go and get donuts instead of buying artwork. So please come say hi, because I might not do very well at this show. But MCM is putting out a lot of information. I'm sure most of you have heard the news. For those who haven't, you can research about Manchester. We had a attack in Manchester, unfortunately, and it was obviously at concert with a large amount of people there. We will have a very similar makeup of people at MCM London. So it is on high alert, and they are putting out safety messages. So if you are going to be there, please do not listen to rumors and bullshit that anyone says to you. Don't listen to your mate who says you have to do X, Y, Z, please. Go to their official social medias. So just look up MCM Comic Con, you'll find it. Or go on their website, and all the details to do with any safety precautions or anything like that will be there. Props for the show. So if you are a cosplayer and you're bringing props, are as normal. There are no changes in the rules. However, it has been casually requested that people not bring replica weaponry. So guns, bombs, explosives, anything that looks realistic in any way, please do not bring it. That is a request from MCM, not a statement. Just because, one, it's kind of a little disrespectful given the recent things. Two, it could cause unnecessary alarm to both people in the convention hall and people on your way. You could get, like, for example, if you're on the train going to MCM and you have what looks like real weaponry, you could get pulled over by the police, because the UK is on full alert right now. So look after yourselves and everyone around you by just being considerate with what you do. Again, they've put an official statement out today, so you can go and read that. That is on their Facebook page and all their other social media. I think that's basically it. You will be fine. Obviously, we can't promise anything, obviously, but there's massive, like, safety precautions in place, and they said that they're upping it. They don't want to release exact details on what they're doing, just because that allows people to prepare. So they're keeping everything under wraps, just so they can give you a bit of a peace of mind. At the show, we as exhibitors are briefed on like keywords and stuff that they use over the tannoy that allow us to like prep stalls and make sure that people can move freely, and without freaking anyone out, we can make sure that you're safe and that you're able to get out of the building safely and stuff like that. So there is a lot in place that is not shown to the public, but does mean that everyone in the hall is looking out for you guys. So it's generally a very safe place. So I hope that the event does not get, I don't know, damaged by this too much. We've all been through these things a lot over the past few years, and I really hope that everyone can really enjoy the Comic-Con that a lot of people have been looking forward to for a long time. But my heart does go out to everyone in Manchester. I've visited there quite a few times for shows, and it's heartbreaking to hear. So if anyone here is involved, like has friends or family involved or anything like that, my heart does go out to you. But everyone here in London will be looking after you guys, just so you guys know. We're trying to make sure that everyone knows to look online to see the official statements, just because it is important that people know that there are going to be like longer lines than normal. You might want to get there a bit earlier than you normally would, things like that. So yeah, we got you guys.
There was a
talk about trade embargoes.
Yeah, that was Ryan Sheldon was joking that this is like the Star Wars prequel of episodes. And I realized it's funny, he jokes that we should talk about trade embargoes, and I realized you probably actually could a little bit talk about trade embargoes given recent events. Not the Manchester, but the idea of different certain trade restrictions and taxes via the effects of Brexit and whatnot.
Oh, fuck it. No, I ain't going into that.
No, we're not going into that, but it is just funny to me that we actually could.
Yeah. No, I actually genuinely probably could, yeah.
We ventured into the dark side enough this episode.
I'll talk about trade embargoes in Civ.
Okay,
Who do you guys embargo? Which Civ do you embargo? Do you play Civ?
No, I was just saying I need to play it. I have it. I have Civ 5, and I still need to play it.
Dude, we should do a Civ 5 podcast.
But I don't know how to play. I just do it anyways.
That's fine, dude. It'll be fine. I know how to play.
Okay, but you need to play. You need to play Nintendo Golf on a podcast with me then. That was the rules. Suddenly, you're not so excited anymore. I'm telling you, it'll be fun.
But look, okay. So every time I play Civ, I play as Attila the Hun.
Right.
Because I love crushing people. It's highly entertaining to me. Every game that's like this, that's like any kind of like creation sim or anything like that, or management thing, I become a horrendous dictator that destroys everything and uses my citizens as fodder to control my kingdom. So there's that within me.
You're like, I must fund both sides to confuse the masses.
I'm a horrible person in games like Civ. Like, my boyfriend's playing this Star Trek version of it today, and he was like, oh, who should I play as? And I'm like, either the Andorians or the Klingons. And he's like, wait, so you want to play as the two biggest military forces in the galaxy? I'm like, yep. Yep. I want to crush people.
How come no one's quoting you on that? Everything I say, they take out of context. You get on here and you straight up say that you want to crush people, and nobody's calling anything on that one.
I want to crush people.
I'm like, we have a homeless people problem, and they're like, Mike said to kill the homeless.
in League of Legends, what was it that I said? I said something along the lines of, I have power over life and death, or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, that brings me great joy that I can choose who lives and dies.
Yeah, no
And
alarm. No one's alarmed.
Yeah, everyone's like, no, it's fine. She's the English girl. She's fine.
Meanwhile, Mike's sitting here saying the economic shift in the current climate I live in is having certain negative effects on the homeless population. Everyone's like, Mike wants to eat homeless people. We'll see how
I love
it is.
how you went to eat. That was never brought up, but
oh god. See, now that's even worse. No, boy. You see, now Meaty and Ryan are gonna have fun with that. I'm Banksy and I eat homeless people, apparently.
Yeah, see, look, they just brought that brings me great joy.
Oh, there we go. they just pick a nice quote that you just like being happy. You like happy things.
I've been trying to get all the platinum trophies for the first 3 Uncharted games, dude. That's kind of cool. I've never played an Uncharted game. I played
Uncharted 2.
Latest one, and it like made me cry. So I feel like I should play the Uncharted games.
Uncharted 2 was pretty amazing. I don't remember if I finished it.
I was always always a Tomb Raider girl.
Right.
I played Tomb Raider a lot, which was like my Uncharted, if that makes sense. Like I played them all on like the PC and stuff, and then I had like the level editor, which was amazing. Tomb Raider level editor needs to come back as a thing. That was mind blowing.
That sounds pretty sweet. I was actually really happy how gritty they made Tomb Raider. They made it like super like dark and gritty and all gnarly. That was awesome. That was a good shift.
Dude, the Tomb Raiders. Did you play all of them?
No.
Okay.
I played like the first one.
One of them, I think it's Tomb Raider Chronicles. You play as her as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was a kid when I played this, right?
Yeah.
Or I should say I was watching my dad play it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd played the previous ones, but I was watching my dad play this one. And there's a point in that where there is like, I think I remember this correctly. There's like a guy, he's either on a cross or he's hanged. And he has no skin. And his chest is open with his like rib cage open, and you can like see his heart beating or something. Like you can see all these guts and everything. And he like talks to you from this stake. That genuinely traumatized me as a child.
Well, yeah, that's pretty horrific.
I was 9 when I saw that for the first time, and was genuinely horrified because I was just running around as Tomb Raider, as Lara Croft, who was like the same age as me in that game. And both of us got traumatized at the same time. It was like a life.
You guys are watching a guy get his skinned alive.
Yeah, and then he's like talking to you. He's like standing there telling you what to do. And it's like, this is horrifying.
Kill me! Is that what he's telling you to do?
No, he was like, go find this key for me or something. I don't know.
Oh.
He was like, it was like an in-game thing. But he was just literally like this destroyed, bizarre creature that's like, go do this thing for me. And I'm like, that's horrifying. I don't like that. If that could never happen again, that would be great.
See, I figured he would have been telling you to kill him. But, you know, whatever.
He seemed fairly content with his horrendous predicament. Stick around long enough to find out what was actually going on. And I was like, nah, I'm out. I only wanted to play this game so that I could do the cute little flips off of walls. I'm good.
Meaty Elbow's asking, wasn't there an early Sarah comic loosely based on Tomb Raider, Abby Danger or something?
Oh, Louise Danger, right? No, Louise Action. Yeah. That was the first comic series I made. Louise Action. Tomb Hunter. Louise Action. Yeah.
That's great. My first comic, the guy's name was like Blade or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, my next comics were like Sonic comics. And they were all like Shadow 2.0 and Fang are going to save the chows. Yeah. I should bring that. Oh, dude. Right, dude.
What?
We need to talk. We need to have a talk. Okay. So, speaking of... Abby Danger is the off-brand version. Speaking of... Sonic OCs. I feel like we've had this conversation before, that there's like ridiculous numbers of Sonic original characters, right?
Right.
Everyone makes Sonic comic books and original characters for some bizarre reason, okay? There is a new game coming out, and in it, you can make your own Sonic character. And it can be in the game, right?
Oh my
Which
God.
is both the best and worst thing in the world, because now everyone who's made their bullshit little drawings for DeviantArt, they can put their character in a game and make screenshots of it and be like, this is my character, and it's an actual character in Sonic. So
Oh my God.
are you ready? Are you ready for what the internet's about to become? Are you ready?
I loved those characters before. They were fantastic.
Yeah. Like, type your name into... Have you played the Sonic game?
Yeah, I think we did it
Google?
on the podcast, right?
Yeah, you type your name in, the hedgehog, and then you see what comes up.
Mike the Hedgehog. I remember, I can't remember what Mike the Hedgehog looked like. I have to look at it again.
They always, like, have crazy spiky hair.
Yeah, they're always like an interpretation of, like, what I imagine, like, a 7th grader would think would look really cool.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
They're fantastic.
Which, to be fair, we've learned is, like, where my heart is, to be honest. It never grew.
Mine's always just into being a pretentious hipster douchebag. That's where my heart is.
Yeah.
People saying lines like, I like their first album, stuff like that. You know, anytime if you're in a room and you hear someone say, I like the first album, or, you know, I only prefer to listen to it on vinyl, then be like, oh, is Mike in the room?
Yeah.
You say something
and then
like...
I'm in the corner with a choker on and singing Simple Plan with, like, dyed hair and a hoodie that's too big for me. And Converses. Dude, I saw Converses on holiday, and I wanted them so badly, and I couldn't afford them. I was staring at them. I was like, they've got teal Converses.
I like teal. Teal's an awesome color.
Oh, teal is my favorite color. And I was like, I need this in my life. But they were like 45 euros, and I'm pretty sure they weren't real Converses. And I was like, When I was visiting Germany, when I was like 15, I bought Converses, and they were so big, they went up to my knees, and they were like lace up all the way up to my knees, and I felt like such a badass. I really wasn't, but I really felt like it. And dude, just so you can all hate me more than you need to. And I hope Shmunify and Gareth are still here so they can just despise at this. I used to have Naruto fingerless gloves. So they were fingerless gloves that had the Naruto metal headband on the top, like the badass that I was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was that kid. I didn't even watch Naruto, and I was already that kid.
You didn't even watch Naruto and you had the gloves?
I didn't even watch Naruto, and I was that far into it. So, if anyone else is as much of a weeb as me, I'll see you at MCM tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I'm amazed that you were willing to admit that on the internet. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, I'm at a point where I don't care.
Yeah.
I used to care. I don't care. And especially, like, with you guys, it's like, I've got to sit here for, like, 3 hours every week and talk bullshit. I might as well make it honest bullshit. This is the last box.
You on the last box?
Yeah. So these boxes will go to the show like this, and then they'll basically, when someone says, I want a box set and I want books 1, 2, and 3 in it, they can pick up 1, 2, and 3, or book 3, or whatever book set they want. I'll sign it for them, and then I'll put it in the box and hand them over the box. So everything else in the box is ready.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I will only have, if anyone's visiting, I only have 17 box sets to bring with. Unfortunately, I didn't get all the packaging arrive that I needed for the show, so I'll only have 17 in stock. And obviously this is a show where 130 odd thousand people show up. So if you want a box set, get there early.
I like how the... Oh, sorry. Hold on a sec.
What was that?
I was going to mention I like how they're still doing the thing in the chat where all the quotes they quote of you are like all nice. Like Ryan Sheldon, I might as well make it honest. Sarah.
I love it.
Oh,
I love
boy.
it. I want that to be our new thing.
Yeah, well, it looks like that's the way that's going.
If we had an emote, like an emoticon, that you guys could use in chat, what would you want? What weird I want it to be like a bullshit meme, because they've made some changes to do with emotes and stuff for like Twitch, and I think we might be able to get access to one. I think we only get one though. So if you guys know what you want, whether it's like a burrito or a platypus or like Banksy's face or something.
Banksy platypus.
Yeah. If there's something you guys want, it'll be tiny. The little emotes are tiny. But if there's something you guys want, let us know, because we might be able to make one.
Portrait of Tracy Emin.
Yeah, we need a Damien Hirst. People just spam Damien Hirst. Or no, we need couches. Everyone, yes, yeah, meet your elbows straight on it. A couch emote.
That's true. The couch would make sense. Couch is kind of the blanket catch-all conceptually of the show.
It kind of is. I just love the idea of having something that new people wouldn't know what is, like, at all. A bone magic emoji. What do you want that to be? It could be straight up a magical bone, or it could be something so much worse.
A little copy of the book. Do you know what would actually be kind of amazing if it was the couch? Is that if someone just kept saying, "What's with the couch emoji? Why couch?" Then
couch.
Then thematically it's working, you know?
Yeah.
The more people the more people are confused by it, the more it will actually make sense.
I'd love it if we could, like, I don't know how many letters you're allowed for your emoticon either. Like, I'd love if it could be called "What is couch?" and then people write "What is couch?" and then couch appears. That would be so good. Skeleton couch. God. Oh my gosh.
It'd be good to have the audience to have that option, assuming we don't alienate the audience by all our different ways that we attempt to alienate ourselves from having an audience every episode.
I feel like the aim of this show is to both bring people together and alienate them at the same time. That's what it's become at this point.
I was trying to remember what the episode was where you were I kept telling you, like, well, whatever audience we had left, you just lost them there.
That's every episode.
I think it was the time you were talking about, like, was it some anime or something? You're like, actually, people are going to be upset, but I haven't seen this one. Or it was said you didn't like something, and it was something I was like, well, there goes the rest of everyone.
Oh, well, I didn't like something. Was it like Attack on Titan or something? Maybe.
You don't like Attack on Titan?
I've not seen it. That's the thing. Everyone's seen Attack on Titan. I've not seen it.
No.
Because I don't like the creatures. They look weird.
Well, if it wasn't that, there's that one.
It's the thing now, so you're welcome.
Yeah, we'll just talk about all the cultural things that people love that you don't like, and then I'll just talk about my local politics, so we can go ahead and just burn every single bridge that we could possibly make in the show.
There we go. Boxes.
I'm just going loosey-goosey on this dog.
Do you like my boxes?
Oh, let me switch screens here. Oh, yeah. They kind of look like pizza boxes, and it's making me hungry.
They are pizza boxes. Well, they're not actually, but they're called pizza box style because of the way they open. So you could technically use them as pizza boxes. But they're not the right size for a pizza. It would be a very small pizza.
That'd be a personal pizza. Maybe one of the weird rectangle-y pizzas instead of a round one.
A rectangle pizza, yeah.
Maybe a Sicilian-style pizza would fit in there.
Yes.
Meaty elbow. If Mike could just promote some more underage drinking and drug use, that would boost audience members.
That was probably, yeah. It was probably something like that, yeah.
I forgot about
Guarantee
that.
It.
That's right.
The amount of times you've done stuff and I've just been like, if you could not, that would be great.
People are like, how do I get people to come to my art show? I'm only, I'm a 16-year-old kid and I want people to have an art show. How do people come? And I'm like, bring alcohol. I mean, don't do that.
You know, it's interesting. I don't know if we ever brought it up. A little while back, we had someone in the artist lounge asking about whether they should set up an art business through PayPal or whatever, even though they weren't old enough. And
Right.
I think when we were talking about it, we were like, yeah, whatever. Like, in short, in Cliff Note form.
Yes.
But my answer, if it was that back then, has changed since then, unfortunately. Because there's a lot of discussion going around at the moment where PayPal is now shutting down accounts if they were made before someone was old enough, like before someone was 18 or something.
Really?
Yeah, so if you, like, let's say, for example, I'm 24. If I'd set up an account before I think it was, you had to be 18 or 17 or something to have an account on PayPal. If I'd done that, then now my account could get shut down because they're doing, like, a big blanket thing of, like, linking people's accounts to their bank accounts and actually finding out how old they are. And it's kind of mental. So, like, people who have had the account for, like, 20 years now are having their accounts shut down because they lied at the beginning. So, be careful. Oh, hey, an artist lounge thing I thought about asking, but then couldn't be bothered to log into Reddit. Is anyone using the new profile feature beta? That's from Meteorbo. Profile feature?
Profile feature.
Oh! This is the thing that means that bloody shitty watercolor gets advertised to me every time I go on Reddit, isn't it? So your profile on Reddit, you can now turn it into a sort of page. So you can have all of your top posts and like information about you. If you go to u/shitty watercolor to see his account, that's what you can make now with your account. And yeah, it must be in beta at the moment. But what you can then do with that, what I've noticed, is you can advertise it. So I'm getting advertisements. Check out You Shitty Watercolor for like interesting watercolor images about daily life or whatever, right?
Do you need to reserve your own subreddit first, or they already give you the subreddit of your name?
I don't know for sure.
Because that'd be sure
But it's not a subreddit.
Oh,
It's like you're turning your profile into like a page or something.
Oh.
It looks like a subreddit, kinda. All about you. But I'm pretty sure you're just turning your own... When you go to your account, you click on your name, like you/Funisher, and you look at yourself. It's that becoming like a really fancy page.
How would I know? How does that work?
But I've not done it myself. No, but it got advertised about a month or so ago. It got launched, and You Shitty Watercolor is the beta of it. Like he's the one that they're using to show it off for how it works. If you go to his account, you'll see how it works.
Oh, everyone just kisses his ass on there.
Yeah. At least it's not a Wild Sketch Appears or something, right? Is that who it was who had that massive meltdown?
Oh, he's like still back. He's fine. You know, people like it. It was kind of between him and Shitty Watercolor for a while.
Time for me to wage my one-man war on Shitty Watercolor. Good luck with that. Yeah. So
I would vote Meaty Elbow over Shitty Watercolor in a heartbeat. You kidding?
I would too, actually. I genuinely would.
Yeah, come on. Let's admit it here.
Let's
admit it here who the better artist is. We all know.
But
nothing against him, but come on.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here I would as well.
Yeah.
I would love to see Slam 9 versus Shitty Watercolor. That would be fun. That would be a really interesting one.
I want to see Chet Bigginston versus Shitty Watercolor.
Oh my god. So good. I've noticed a lot of like corporations are using it already. They're always the first to like jump on what can be a new advertising campaign. So if I'm scrolling through Reddit, it'll look like there's another post on Reddit, right? It'll look like a normal post on Reddit, only it's shaded with a different background color, and it will say like, "Come check out u/Rooster Teeth for all the content on the slow-mo guys," or whatever, right? And that comes up in my normal feed as if it's like an advert scrolling up, which I'm not a massive fan of, but it's not enough to irritate me a lot because it's subtle enough and I can tell that it's an advert and I can ignore it, but it's close to irritating me. But they always say if you wanna use something to its full power, get on early. So this is a thing that you can go and use, and you can make yourself into a cool little page, and then you can pay to advertise that all over Reddit. So if you want to do that, that's a thing now.
That's nifty.
Yeah. It seems to be working for some people, otherwise they wouldn't still be doing it, so... Yeah. Yeah. I just noticed that my screen has been frozen for, like, the entirety of this podcast, so I have no idea where you're at in your drawing. I'm going to refresh the page.
It's moving along. I'm just hardcore markering things right now.
Yeah. Ooh, it's getting late. Oh, dude. It looks cool. I saw a flash of it before it jumped to an advert, and it looks very cool.
We need to probably take a break soon so we can look at people's art.
We do.
Because we're running late, as always.
And I need to get to bed.
And you got a long day, so...
I got a pack in the morning, and I've got to get to London, which will take like 10 hours, so...
Alright. Alright, you want to... Hold on a second. While I'm hardcore markering, can you let people know how to do the art thing? I'm worried if I start talking too much, I'll mess something up.
Okay, to do the art thing, so if you want your artwork there on next week's show, scrolling throughout the show, as well as if you want us to show it right now and talk about it, you need to post your artwork to Twitter. You need to put hashtag DACPICS, that's DACPics, in the same post as your artwork. That way, we will find it in the DACPics thread. If you want a critique or advice or particular comments about anything in it, then do write that in your post as well, and we will do that. Otherwise, we will just show your artwork on screen and tell you how freaking awesome you are. And then, and mustn't forget, please, if you have like a website or like a social media or something that you want people to go and find you at, put a little like watermark on your drawing of that place, because then people can see it on screen and they can go find all your more beautiful stuffs and stalk you forever on all the social medias. So yeah, I think that's everything. So go post your artwork whilst we're on break, and then when we come back from break, we will look through the artwork, critique on those that have requested it, and show off all the general freaking awesomeness that is your faces.
Yeah. And then we have to and we can get insanely jealous of everyone else's art.
Yeah, I realized that the only thing I've drawn in about 2 weeks of stuff is like adverts for my own artwork, which is so weird. Medieval,
goddammit, forgot the watermark. There's still time. Yeah. It takes a minute.
Still time. You have the whole break. So, all right. Break's like usually like 5-10 minutes, something like that.
All right, we're going to break now. We'll see you guys in a few minutes and see your art soon. Peace out.
You're welcome, chat.
I didn't even know that was coming. It was just like, I was expecting you to say something, that I heard that and I was like, okay.
Okay, I need to correct my audio now because I said screw my audio up for that. That was requested by chat.
I was supposed to sing along?
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that was a thing either. That was just like, someone said, we were talking about the Lion King, and someone said that's the circle of life, and I sang the circle of life in chat. And then they were like, you need to do this as a thing, so I got it ready.
There we go.
You're welcome, guys. For once, I did what you asked for.
I had to make an adjustment on the screen there.
Apparently one of our viewers dropped because I did that.
Oh, that's how they get you. I wonder if that's gonna... That audio will actually pull up on the...
That'll flag us up,
on the YouTube. They'll flag us. They'll pull the whole thing. Put the thing on the account. How dare you play 3 seconds
what?
of the song. Oh, God. That was a good way to introduce. This is a Santu's piece.
Yeah, and they mentioned that it had something to do with migraines.
Yes.
Which I feel so hard because, literally a week ago, no, 2 weeks ago, I lost about 3 days of existing because I had a migraine. So I know your feel. But this is really, cute, which is weird. I don't associate cute with migraines or anything like that. But I love the little characters. I love their wings.
The thing's growing out of the head is that's that unnerving feeling, that the sense of that pressure with migraines, wishing you just pull the little thing out.
It reminds me of snow or cold or something like that, the way it's shaped.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so what it feels like. It feels like when you get brain freeze from eating ice cream or something, and you've got these 2 daggers in the side of your head, but it doesn't go away after 5 seconds.
Oh.
But yeah, I thought that was really cool. And it looks like a little monster eating her head or something. And then I love the way that Sarah has drawn the little characters. They're so cute. I imagine them as little dolls or little children's book characters or something. They're so cute. That's Zantu's work. ASZANTU.
I have that Lion King song stuck in my head. There was a... Choppa had uploaded a handful of, looks like, anatomy studies. I apologize for this stupid little thing in the bottom that's blocking the phalanges. We can't get a good... Well, maybe if I zoom in a lot. I hate this little icon that Microsoft put over the images. It's really annoying.
F11 make it go away or something?
Well, but the problem is every time I move... Oh, there it goes. Every time I move the mouse, it comes back. So I have to move the mouse out of the... So pretty much the way I have to do it is I have to move the mouse out of the screen and then click softly enough where it doesn't move the mouse, and then that, it's fine. It'll be gone. But every time I move the mouse, it will come back. So it's really annoying.
Weird. That's weird.
And then they added a new little icon at the top of the screen, and then I tried to scale that out, and then that scaled the bottom of the hand out. Oh, it's been a battle. It's been a battle. We're hanging in there.
Yeah, I was looking at these pieces. Now, I've been following Chopper for a while. I think a lot of us have now. Seeing Chopper's progress. Doing a lot of anatomy study. And I think what... I would love to see them push further is really trying to understand exactly how the joints work and how the muscles work. There's obviously an understanding of where the joints are, and it's demonstrated more in the gray piece of the scapula and the shoulder, but really understanding how a ball and joint socket works and how each of the different joints work. And I know that they have the same anatomy book as I do. I can't remember the name of it now. Its name has escaped me. But they've got the same anatomy book as I do.
Is it Loomis?
No.
Yeah.
It's Anatomy for the Artist or something like that. I put a photo of it on my Instagram the other day. But they've got the same book as I do, and there's like a page on the specific mechanisms of joints. It's like a one-pager, and it's like showing you in 3D movement how each of the joints moves. And I'd really recommend they go over and look at that, because looking at these, there's like a little bit of a tendency to draw the entire joint rather than drawing the joint as it would be hidden by other parts of the joint, like the connecting tissues and stuff. And that way you're actually understanding how the socket is moving, how the ball is moving within the socket, rather than just being like, oh, it is a ball, thinking about actually like, well, what range of movement does it give it, and then how does that qualify for each of the different bones in the arms, for example.
Yeah, it was there's a few let's see the comparison, a few others.
Yeah, they had a few. I felt like the grey one with the like black and white sketch of the scapula was better for demonstrating that. But even then, if you look at the ball and joint of the socket, it's not inside the socket, if that makes sense. It's demonstrating the fact that it is there, but it's not demonstrating how it actually interacts. And I feel like I know how hard they're working at learning anatomy and stuff, and maybe pushing that further and really focusing on that for a little bit might really help with like truly understanding these different little parts of anatomy.
Right.
Like, I just know how hard they're working at trying to like push it to another level. There's like maybe these little things might be the catalyst for that.
I did like in this one the figure how they really did get the feeling of weight properly.
Yeah, that's really good.
This one has real. This is my favorite one out of all 4 uploads. Even though they're all very different drawings, this is definitely my favorite one right here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The gesture and the weight. I can't think of the way to describe this, but the way you'll have it kind of curve one way, then the next joint kind of curves the other, and it adds a certain energy to it.
Posto.
Yeah, a little bit, and it's not even just in the pose, but in the between joint to joint. That's always makes kind of like a nice rhythm in the piece. But they really had the weight on this figure feel proper.
In particular, nice. The lower half of the body is very strong.
Right.
Yeah, the way I think it was Cynic's Design who said it. They said if you can draw a good butt, you can draw the rest of the body. Because as long as you've got the butt right, then everything else like links to it in terms of balance and weight distribution. And you can get like the legs perfect if you get the butt drawn right.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
You can see it. If you like hold your hand over like the top half, you can see how strong the lower half is. And the top half is strong, but you can see the distinct difference of like how strong that lower half is, I think. Because I feel like the top half is a lot looser. I feel like the shoulders are very strong. But like the forearms are like, as it goes along the arms, it then becomes a lot looser and is just like kind of a gesture of where it should be. Whereas like the lower half of the body and maybe the shoulders and head area are very strong in accuracy of weight and movement.
I'm looking at
All about that butt. Official slogan of the Dak Pick podcast.
All about that butt.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to say. All about that butt. It's like you say it. It's kind of weird. Everyone should. I'm sure everyone's tried saying it out loud now, but yeah, when you say it out loud, it is a very bizarre sentence that doesn't feel like you're actually saying words.
Yeah, it just sounds like blah 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 blah.
Yeah, all about that butt.
Okay, now that we had that moment
here.
Oh, there's a very good piece actually. The third one along in their second pose that's got that figure in it. There's a third picture there.
Did I really miss it? You said in that same post on Twitter?
Yeah, I missed it as well. I accidentally clicked and got to it.
Oh crap! I might have missed some art.
There's a little drawing of the upper half of the torso and how the muscle on the top of the arm wraps around, and that is very strong. That's very well done.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, I missed these ones on the sides. Let me just do the thing where I open tabbed windows so we can at least look at them, and I'm just going to drag them all the way over. Yeah, see, these were really nice, and I missed these, so I'll be sure to... So we're looking at them, so we have the nose right now.
Oh, where's this?
Wait a minute, is there more that I'm missing?
So he uploaded 3 posts, right?
Right.
4 posts.
Wait.
So...
1, 2... Oh, that was an upper...
And
crap.
each post...
The one with all the white I thought was was all one image. I didn't realize it had cut that. Okay, let's just throw all these up here, and then I'll deal with... Yeah, there's a lot of imagery here. Yeah, we're gonna have to kind of go through these a little quicker. Yeah, there's the joints. There's the ones you're talking about.
Yes, there's the joints of the noses and the face, and like the bottom of the face is really cool, like showing how that's moving. With the neck, that's very powerful. I think everyone should look at that because that's a very well drawn little sketch there of the bottom of the face, connected to the neck, showing the planes there. Some strong images of the noses. They have that black and grey sketch of the shoulder joint, which was very nice. They had another torso drawing demonstrating how the shoulder joint works in muscles, which is very good, particularly in the way they've drawn the pecs. That's very accurate, and I think quite a few of these are demonstrating that Chopper is evolving a lot. I wonder if they need to work a lot on their imaginative work, because I feel like a few of the like technically weaker pieces are the ones where it's not like been based off of an exact reference. You can tell the difference between these ones where it's like measuring the planes of the face, and the exact contour lines of the face. They're very exact, they're very accurate, and there's a big difference between them and these like much looser, sketchier pieces. And it's not necessarily to say one's good and one's bad, but to capture that accuracy in the more imaginative pieces, I think will bring out a much like a powerful piece of both worlds, if that makes sense. That was a great piece of info from you.
Well, from me.
Yeah, you just went,
I was like, I was because I'm scrolling, and then I just try to, because there's so many that we can't, so I'm just trying to like open the few at once here, and then I'm gonna just minimize that whole window so I save those images later into the archives. We'll probably have to just move on to another artist because you have to go to sleep soon. I'm doing Cthulhu Loves Me, little puppy drawing here, the same dog I was struggling with most of the podcast.
Yeah, Cthulhu said, basically don't judge this too harshly, just because that wasn't their exact words, but whatever. But they said that their photograph has distorted it a lot, because of the camera distortion, plus the fact that apparently the paper is warped quite a lot. And that's messing with the proportions. So it's hard to judge it. Apparently it looks significantly more accurate in person, so...
Well, then we can just enjoy the goofy puppy smile for this one, and then look at their other drawing of the kitty.
The kitty cat is so cute.
Yeah, it is really cute.
So cute. The dog is a work in progress as well, so hopefully next week they'll have like a really cute picture of it. I love the shading on the cat's eye. Can we just appreciate that?
Yeah, let's zoom in on it. There we go.
The shading that like covers that eye and like sets it into the skull of the cat. That's so good.
This cat looks nice. I usually have a feeling when I see a cat that they're up to something, but I kind of feel pretty alright about this cat. I don't think this cat's up to anything. I don't think this cat's being sneaky. I don't know why. I know that's not much commentary on the art itself, but that's what I was thinking when I was looking at it.
Yeah, the cat does look like it's about to like grab something or do something. It's like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
If you come near me, I'm gonna get you.
Oh, that's how you read. I was just reading it as just the cat's just chilling in this case.
Oh, dude, I know cats.
Oh, you know cats.
The more chill a cat looks, the more likelihood that you're gonna poke its belly and it's gonna eat you.
Oh my God! See, this is the thing. I just don't,
Yeah.
Apparently, I can't read cats at all.
Yeah, they do this like kicky thing with their feet. They're like, oh, look at my little belly, look how cute it is, and you're like, oh my God, you have such a cute little belly, and you wiggle it, and then they're like, nah, that's not what I wanted. I wanted you to acknowledge the fact that I'm cute, but not touch me. So they like do this little kicky thing with their feet and like kick like a little rabbit, and then you regret everything because you walk away with like scratches all over you.
I see.
You're welcome, cats.
Well, good to know. Can I just say also on Ngazu's piece here with the chocobo? First, I was proud of myself for being like, that's a chocobo. I know things.
I didn't expect you to know that was a chocobo.
Oh, isn't it? Well, I played Final Fantasy VII. I didn't beat it, but I did play it. I got all the way to the last cave I'm supposed to go fight Sephiroth, and then I was like, I don't think my characters are strong enough. I didn't have Knights of the Round materia, and I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. And I stopped. It was like 65 hours into a game, and I stopped.
A normal person would be annoyed at you by that. I think I've done that in every game I own.
Yeah, you hit a point like it's like I got all the parts that I enjoyed. I just wanted to really point out how much I really like the Chocobo's head, and just this whole, especially this area here is just really well rendered.
And the foot as well. I saw it when it was literally just a sketch of the foot, and it was so strong. I was like, that's amazing. Like, I love the way the Chocobo has been drawn.
Right.
And its eye, oh my God, its eye is so cute. It's so glossy.
Oh, Chocobos. Well, don't they have a little theme song? I don't remember how it goes.
Yes, they do have a theme tune.
I'm so glad you sang it. I was hoping you would.
Yeah, they have a theme tune. God damn it. Oh my God, who's next?
Meaty elbow, looking at the flower.
Sweet.
The peony.
Oh God damn it, Meaty.
Yeah, it always has the best palette.
I click on them, they enlarge on my screen, I'm like, damn it. Also, that's what she said, but this is so good. The light in this, the light and shadows are so good. Like, I don't even have words for how strong they are. And that leaf that's like leaning over and touching the flower, I know it's not like painted realistically, but my brain just says that's a real leaf. My brain just accepts that. It's like, there you go. That's a leaf. It's so good.
Yeah, if I'm apparently going to be the secret Banksy harvesting hobos to make my ink, then I am going to push the narrative that Meaty Elbow's in the one-man fight against shitty watercolor. We're going to call it here during this podcast.
Yeah, Meaty is anything but shitty watercolor.
That's like how much like kind of the thickness and weight that you get of the petals right here in this big tight bunch of them.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's always important. Yeah, they took the time to make sure that the care was in all the little details. Yeah.
It makes me want to see Meaty paint like fabric. Like the way there's all those like folds in the petals and stuff. I'd love to see like a fabric based piece.
Yeah,
I don't know what of, like a dress or something, I don't know. But I'd love to see like him paint
himself
like,
in a dress.
Yes, that's what I want. Me, I want a self-portrait of you in a dress, like lovely folds and like drapery and everything.
Like a really long dress with lots of like a Victorian era dress.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want.
That's what we want. That's a request.
That's a demand.
I like this work in progress from Ryan Sheldon art. This is it's always cool because we always it's the one week we see the work in progress and then see the finished result the next week.
Yeah, I love that. Is this the antlers?
Yes.
Dude, I have a thing for antlers.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. every
You
piece
have
of
a thing
artwork
for
that
antlers.
I see, that sounds weird, but
Yeah.
every time I see a painting with antlers in it, right?
Right.
I'm like, that is so cliche, but I can't help it. I adore it. It looks so good. It's like, I feel like it's one of those things that you would hate and that I love. You know?
I made a rule at an FM at one point that we were any art that was submitted that had like animal headdresses or anything, I wouldn't allow it in the gallery. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, no more.
Like,
we had shows, we covered it, but it hit a certain point where I was like, no more shows of it. No, and then we had a few rules. I made the owl rule then. No, it was Peter made the animal headdresses. I made the owl rule that if there was owls, it wasn't showing.
Whereas I like actively seek this stuff out. I'm at MCM. I'm like, where are the deer antlers and the wolf ears and the fluffy cat faces? Where are they? I need them.
Oh, well, I mean, admittedly, I had that rule in the gallery, but I would go home and watch that like video of that little baby owl being petted and like closing his eyes, and he's like super adorable. I've watched that so many times. I'll never get sick of that video. I'll if you do a painting of that owl, it wouldn't get in the gallery, but there would have been a chance I would have bought the painting off you then regardless.
Oh, yes, that owl. I forgot about that owl, and now I'm probably going to watch that for like an hour before I go to bed.
Oh my god, every time I see it, I'm like, why can't that owl just be next to me as I draw? And then when I'm frustrated, I could just pet his little head and feel fine.
Dude, that's like some Hogwarts shit. Can you imagine that? Sitting here, like, painting along, and you got a little owl on a perch next to you, and you're just petting him with the other hand. Like, paintbrush in one hand, petting an owl in the other hand. Like, surely that's what life is about, right?
Right.
I love how there's silence, and then I just see the picture change on screen. It's like, okay, calm down. Alright. So this is the piece that we've seen Ryan working on for a little while.
Right. Now
Dude,
finished.
look at the detail in the headdress.
Well, I know. Well, it's all like it's the salt technique. It's the salting the
Oh,
ink.
yeah. Zoom in on that because that's so cool.
Yeah, it worked out beautifully.
It looks like she's got like loads of flowers in her hair or something. It's really cute.
Yeah. I should get salt on the table here, play around with that, the ink. That'd be fun. I was talking earlier, I never have fun making art. Why should I be having some damn fun? Jeez, Mike, why don't you have any fun when you make art, you idiot?
Yeah, your life out.
Why don't you have fun, Mike? God, you never have fun. For a minute, I thought her headdress was made out of, like, pens. Like, quills and pens.
Oh, yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were, like, these like, metal shard things, I think.
Sometimes I just like forget to even like critique or say anything. I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, just like looking at the art, just oh, that's nice. Just enjoying it. Oh.
Yeah, it says I would have put more detail in the headdress, but the picture didn't have much detail.
Yeah, no, I think it's perfect.
Fine.
Yeah,
I think particularly the way you've added like pattern into like those little side pieces. Oh my god, my screen's freaking out. There's like little gold side pieces. The pattern there kind of like really helps it to balance. And the roses, the way it deepens into the gold color, and the way you've like spread the gold throughout the image is really nice.
The piece is 11 by 15. I thought it would have been larger actually. You got a lot of little. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about detail. For 11 by 15 sheet of paper, that's plenty of detail.
Yeah. It's cool. I should do more traditional stuff. I look at Ryan's work and I'm like, and Meaty's as well, and Slam9's as well. There's so many people. I look at everyone's work here and I'm like, I should play with some paint again.
Right. I'm like, I think we need to switch roles. I need to work on my digital. You got to be traditional, and then I need to start making abstract so I can come on the podcast and talk about how hard abstract painting is.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I was wrong. Because that's what happens. I say things, and then a week later, I'm like, whew, well, I was wrong on that one.
I regret everything, yeah.
Yeah, good thing this was recorded on the internet forever, so people can hold me accountable.
Look, no one's going to sit here and look through all of these 3 hours or whatever.
It's kind of amazing when you do.
Yeah, are people who we trust.
Yeah, it's the people in the chat right now. That's the thing is you can post this all you want, but I'm pretty positive. I throw this on Facebook, and I bet you anybody who does listen maybe goes about 15 minutes in before they switch it off.
And they're like, nah.
And then you can just say whatever you want because no one's going to stick around for 3 hours. We've been on this, like, pretty adorable little schmoony doodle here. Even the phrase schmoony doodle's kind of...
Schmoony doodle.
Schmoony doodle.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Can that be Schmoonify's Tumblr? Schmoony doodles.
Schmoony doodles.
Yes. Yes. I need that. That's so cute. That's an entire brand there.
Schmoony doodle.
You can do stuff with that.
Yeah, you really can. It's pretty catchy. You're welcome, Schmoonify.
You can have badges and shit with that. That's how you get to MCM. Schmoony doodles. Done.
This piece makes me anxious. I cannot fucking sleep when it's hot. When it's really hot in the room. Like, I can handle heat during the day and getting around, that's fine. But when I'm trying to sleep, if it's too hot, I just can't fall asleep.
It's weird. It's not bothered me this year. We have, like, a heat wave here at the moment. It's very hot right now, which is hilarious to me. I was in Italy last week, where it was very, very hot. It got up to 27 degrees. Celsius, obviously. And then... on the last day, so the day we were flying back, we had like thunderstorms, torrential rain. It was horrible. The day that we'd left the UK to go there, it had been that weather. It was torrential rain. It was like driving on the roads. You would have thought you were driving in a river instead of on a road or something, right? So we'd been there for like 5 days in boiling hot weather. Then it turned horrendous, and we got here, and then here in the UK is boiling hot right now.
Right.
And it's really not bothering me at all. And I wonder if it's because I've like acclimatized to it. But my boyfriend cannot sleep. He's freaking out. He's like, oh, I hate this. This is the worst. And I'm like, nah.
Well, what's even worse is when it's hot, not only are you frustrated because you can't sleep, but just heat just naturally makes you angry anyways. So you're just like, ah, you know.
Really? No, I get so relaxed.
Well, yeah, think about any time, like, if you're frustrated, but you're also in a hot environment. Like, if you had to, like, fix something, and, you know, like, you can't get I'm trying to think of a specific example where it's like, okay, I guess, you know, the only time I can think of is, like, if I'm in a gallery and I have to change lights, but, like, the light fixture's giving me a problem, and it's just getting more and more frustrating, but you're up there and, like, there's a hot halogen light on your face, and you're like, God! You know, and you have to, like, catch a breath.
Yeah. I did hate it being hot whilst I was at school. That was the worst.
Yeah.
But it was made worse because we had mandatory uniforms that were a black blazer and tie with top button done up at all times.
Jesus, man. Were they trying to kill you guys?
Yeah, they were. I think they were. I think if we died, then that means that we didn't technically fail, so it doesn't mess with their Ofsted results.
With their statistics.
So,
see, that's what happens again. Back to grading or teaching only on to test into scores. You know.
Yeah, it's like like the fittest. It's like a Darwin experiment. The fittest get through, and they're the ones who get the best results. Everyone else dies off.
Right. That's how you become the purple student or whatever your guys' color scale was.
Excuse me, it was violet.
Well, excuse me. I wouldn't be able to tell anyways.
Don't mistake me with those indigo scum.
I'd be like, oh, I'm in neutral club.
Neutral, you would have been...
I would have probably thought I was in blue if I was in violet, if I was in...
Oh, blue, yeah, you could have been blue. Blue never did anything. No one ever cared about blue.
See, the hard thing is, you know what would suck is then they put you aside. If they put you aside with all the smart kids, you'd be like, oh, great, like, no one's funny, you know?
What do you mean?
Because if you're like in like whatever color was like the kids that were like the misfits, they're always the ones that were like more fun to have in class because they were funny.
I sort of agree with you, but it didn't really work like that in my school for some reason.
Oh, really?
It worked like that when the schools like joined up. There were 3 schools, and we made like a combined 6th form together.
Right.
And then you wanted the people who weren't like technically like violet or whatever. They were funny, and they made the lessons like genuinely bearable. But when in the normal school, it was more like the people lower down the color scale. It wasn't that they were more like fun or chill or anything. They got more like aggressive.
Right.
Which is weird. So the higher up colors, so to speak, we were all the people who got bullied by all the lower down colours. Right. So we were all the super chill, trying to cheer each other up people.
Oh, okay.
If that makes any sense.
Usually the format I was used to is there'd be one smart kid who was really witty and clever and funny, and then the rest of the smart kids would just kind of be quiet, and then there would be, like, the kind of, like, you know... Well, there was always, like, bullies, but the funniest kids tended to also be, like, they were, like, former bullies who aren't bullies anymore, and then they're just hilarious. Like, a mature bully can be pretty damn funny. Because, there was, like, I remember there was this one family, and I remember, like, the whole family were, like, all bullies. It was seriously like the O'Doyle family and Billy Madison, right? And the younger they were, the meaner they were, because it was like a group of brothers. Oldest brother, hilarious. He was so funny, you know? And, like, that's... So I would like to think over time that senses of humor will save all of them, you know?
That's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how that happened.
I don't know what we're looking at Smith and Fritzy's painting. They have 2 paintings, I believe, right? Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I really love these. The color palettes in these are gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And I love, in this piece, for example, the blue piece, the, like, shaping. Because there's, like, this circle around it, but it's so loose, it, like, just smooths around it, like... I don't know, like a coffee stain or something. I love it. It's so cute.
Smith and Fristy mentions, I was trying a new idea to just do some abstract washes before I start coloring in the main image. It's really fun to do that with acrylic. That was the one thing with acrylic I really enjoyed, is you can lay in a real wet wash, and then since it can get super opaque, you could just really dive in just straight with paint.
It's so cute. I love it.
Yeah, we had the next one here was a nice example.
The color palette of this second. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous. And, like, color palettes like this mess with my brain because they make me think, how did you make that work?
Right.
Like, it's so clever. How did you do that? I want to do that.
There was a thing also, like, that was a big part with color, is it's not about accuracy, it's about color relationships. If the colors look good together, the image will look, the painting will look awesome.
So good.
Good use of compliments.
And the opacity on each of the brush strokes is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they're in this weird dream state, or like I'm looking through curtains or something at them. It's so pretty.
I'm gonna work in color again. That'd be fun. Now I miss color. This Teenagel drawing is really adorable. I think I saw this RGD. I thought about doing it, and I was like, I don't know. I was worried that if I drew the kid and his head at the angle, if I wasn't focused, that I would just completely blow it. I'd probably, like, screw up the alignment of the eyes or something. So a lot of charm in this one. Really captured the charm. Because, let me see, they have 3 pieces? Right. Has it not even switched on yours yet? Oh, we got a lot.
Yeah, sorry, my brain, I just didn't say anything.
Oh.
My favorite is the dog.
Well, that was it.
The Yoda dog or something.
Little Jedi dog?
Yeah. I really like him a lot. Yeah, I really like it. Sorry, my brain's dying because I'm so tired.
I like how it was nice how the way that they drew the dog's hair matches similar, well, pretty much the same technique for the shading in the robe, but you still see the separation of the robe and the dog's hair, the fur.
Yeah. And I've just zoomed in on the picture of the woman as well. Her expression's gorgeous, especially you've captured the eye cells, the little slight bags under the eyes that scrunch up when you smile. Mm. Very cute. I love that. That's like, I have like weird things that if I see them in a portrait, I know I'll like the portrait.
Right.
And 2 of the main things of that are if someone draws an eye cell, and if someone draws the turned up lip point in the far corner of lips. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt, every portrait that I find that I think that's one of my favorite portraits, I will find both of those things in it. And I don't know what my brain's doing that is acknowledging that.
Right.
But it's just intriguing to me. But I love it when people are able to capture those like really subtle things, like the way this person's lips are shaped changes the way the septum is moving.
Right.
Like, I love the fact that they've paid attention to things rather than being like, well, this is how it's supposed to be. They've actually put what the real person looks like into it, and I love that. Right. That makes me so happy.
Ryan Sheldon had pointed this out and said, "Man, that hair though," and that was like, especially on the portrait of the child here, like the hair is done beautifully.
Yes, the hair on the child actually, well, in general, the child's like anatomy and stuff kind of reminds me of old style manga and anime work, particularly like Studio Ghibli or something. Right. But the hair's a lot more detailed than that. But there's like a little element of inspiration in there from old comics and old manga. I love it.
Yeah.
But then to get that gorgeous shine the whole way around, that's a very manga thing to do. And it always looks gorgeous. It always looks like stunning when you do it right.
Yeah, it's a nice cast shadow of the hair on the face. I really love that drawing of the kid there. That one's one of my favorites. Oh, is that it? That's it? Yeah.
Did we miss anyone?
No, I think that's it. All right, brace yourself. You're going to be on camera.
Okay, hey. That's cool. That's cool. I just saw in the corner of the screen the little alpaca sauce from last week show up, or the other week. So I was like, oh, look at his little cute little face.
Oh, yeah. The real goal is going to be, can I finish this dog in about an hour after we're done here? Maybe.
Oh, I'm getting so tired so fast.
We gotta go. Does anyone have any questions? If anyone has any questions, let us know now, as Sarah tells everyone what she has coming up and where people can find her art, so you can go to sleep.
Yes. I will be at MCM London Friday to Sunday. I'm going there tomorrow to set up, but I will be there Friday to Sunday. The show is like open 10 till 6 each day or something like that. You can find all the tickets and stuff online. If you are going to the show, do not expect that you can show up and get a ticket with money. It's not going to happen. You need to buy in advance, okay? There's going to be massive lines there, and most tickets will have sold out already. So if you want to go, you need to like buy a ticket like right now. And then I will be in Comic Village. I'm on the back row, so you've got to walk all the way to the back. And I'm at F1 and 2. But if you walk along where all the food stalls are, and you just look along Comic Village, you'll find me. I've got a big stall. This time I've got 2 tables, as always, but I've messed around with the table, and nothing's arrived yet. Everything's arriving tomorrow, but assuming everything arrives fine tomorrow, the table should look freaking awesome. I'm having a poster per book, each one advertising its individual book with a page from the book that represents it. All 3 books will have a massive area of the table taken up. I will be doing sketches there. I need to check that I've got everything available to do that, but as far as I know, I will be sketching live there. So if you want a sketch done, come and show up, and you can book a little slot. That way you make sure you can get to all your panels and stuff, and you don't miss it because you're being drawn. I am having someone show up on Friday to do photos of the stall and stuff. So if I seem a bit busy and there's like a camera crew and stuff, it's because I've had an interview for MCM. They're celebrating 50 years of MCM or something ridiculous. I can't remember what it is. They're celebrating a ridiculous number of MCMs. And they're featuring all the people who've been there for a really long time. So I've been there for 6 years now. And I go to like a minimum of 3 or 4 events every year. So I've been to a lot of shows now, and they've done a piece about me that will be coming up in one of the next few weeks website interviews and the MYM magazine. So if you're interested in hearing about my experience with MCM and like my relationship and how it's changed me, and anything like that, then you'll find that in that little interview. I'll let people know where they can find that when it's live. But yeah, the table looked freaking awesome. It's got dragon wings on it. It has 3 massive posters for each book. I'll be selling all the posters. There was a special poster that you guys will remember I made on the podcast. It was like the wine glass with the city in the background and guys were flying over it. A lot of people requested that be put on sale individually, so that's now on sale at the show. I have the box set that you guys have been seeing me wrap today, and fingers crossed I will have a very special product that I can announce at the show if it arrives. It's due to arrive tomorrow, so if it does, you'll see an announcement from me. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. So come and give me a hug. There's been quite a few people messaging me asking if they can bring me food and drink. I'm obviously like honored that you want to give me gifts and whatever. There is a new rule kind of people not accepting homemade stuff. So homemade food and drink in particular, people are not accepting at Comic Village. The reason being that a fellow comic artist was given these like bun muffin things as like a homemade gift, and after they ate into it, it was filled with needles and they ended up in hospital.
What?
Yeah.
That's like the they say about Halloween, but it was never usually true or whatever. The urban legend. Someone actually did it.
Someone actually did it, and the reasoning supposedly behind it is that the person who did it did not like a piece of fan art the artist had made. They thought that it was disrespectful to the show or whatever, some bullshit like that. So we are not accepting homemade stuff, and with the heightened security at the moment, it's kind of better to keep everything in packets anyway. On top of that, I am gluten-free, so if you hand me like a cake and it doesn't have a sign on it that says gluten-free, I will give it to one of my staff members. Just please don't be offended if I do that. I know there's been a few people who like bring me cookies at previous shows and stuff like that because they're awfully kind. But this is the first show I've had since becoming gluten-free, and I unfortunately do have to be quite strict with it. So I'm very honored. Honestly, if you want to make me smile, just show up and give me a hug. That's all I really want. All I want is a hug, and maybe you could buy a piece of artwork. But I know many of you have actually bought everything that I sell. So just come give me a hug, and that would be freaking awesome. And I can see all your shiny happy faces. But yeah, so I'm there all weekend. CF1 and 2. So if you go to Comic Village and then you search for row F, I'm on the far end where the food stores are, and that's where I'll be. I'll post like pictures and stuff and a map and everything. So yeah, I shall see you there.
Not believe someone actually did the urban legend needles in the food. It's almost groundbreaking. I'm like kind of oddly impressed in a weird, horrible way, just because it's like I can't believe they actually did it. Like,
yeah, I mean, this artist ended up in hospital and had to get stitches in their mouth or something.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not. Let's rephrase. I'm not happy. I'm just really shocked that someone went through it. Wow.
And over a fucking piece of fan art, please.
Over some fan art. That's just. Of course, it was gonna be over something stupid, you know. It wasn't that it was just like, you attacked my family. It's like, yeah, you did a thing about a thing that I like, and I didn't like it. It's kind of scary. I mean, I talk shit on things all the time.
Yeah.
I gotta be sure to never eat food people give me.
That's why,
I'd be like, I love abstract painting, and then I'm eating, like, needle muffins.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who... Sorry to get onto, like, a big topic right before I need to go to bed. There's a lot of people who say shit like, well, if you get hate online, just turn your computer off or just ignore it, right?
Right.
That hate online can very quickly come into your real life.
Yep.
That's what's genuinely scary about it. When you get death threats and you get whatever attention you do not want, and I've had like moments where I have not felt safe, and then you know that person can find you in real life, and you know that they will be there at your next show, or they will be there at your next convention or whatever. That's genuinely terrifying. Like,
right.
You know that you're going to be in a position where you could be in danger. And to think that it's also happening where people don't even know. They've made a piece of fan art. They love it. They're trying to support a show that they love. And then someone comes up to them under the guise that they're someone who loves them to pieces and uses it to hurt them. That's so awful. Like, I don't know how people can be that psycho. It's so weird to me. That's the wrong word, but I don't know how people can act like that. But anyway, so there is, like, in general, there's going to be a heightened security at MCM, and that was something that happened very recently as well. So if your favorite artist is a little apprehensive about a gift that you give them, please don't take it personally. Obviously, the UK is in heightened security at the moment, and unfortunately that was something that only happened a few weeks ago. So
yeah,
I do, however, like, I will reiterate, and I've said it many a time, MCM is my favorite place on earth, and I think that anyone who goes is going to have an amazing time. I genuinely believe that. It's the place on earth I do feel the most safe is MCM London, rather than anywhere else. I feel safer at MCM London than I do in my own house.
Well, you don't have Comet after you. MCM.
Yeah. I love MCM, and I'm really, really looking forward to being there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone and giving hugs. I need that. I need to see all of you and tell you all how beautiful you are. So, yeah. What about you? What's going on in your life?
Well, you can find me in real life on Friday at the Rockridge Improvement Club spinning records, and then hold on, I've only switched screens. I was putting a ink wash on there, and that's coming up. That's what this portrait of my friend Ben was for, because he's spinning with me. He goes by the name Marathon Edits, and what else? First Friday's not this week, but the next week, and help hang some shows in the Oakland Art Murmur for that. So if you're in the Bay Area, check that out. Otherwise, follow me at MC Steffen, right there, down there, on Instagram, and you can also find me on Facebook. I don't remember what. I know my Facebook name's different. I don't even know. It's if you see, if it says Mike Steffen and there's a little profile and I'm like, it's at a beach and I'm wearing a hat, kind of looking down at my hands. That's me. And then I just because it has like a thing in the link. It's it's not whatever. And I'm trying to think if I had anything else to mention. Not right now. No, I think everything's kind of just. I'm just working on some commissions and stuff, so I don't have announcements on those yet until those things are finalized. So, yep. Anywho, I guess I should mention I did do the art for that mixtape released on Hobo Camp. So again, support your local artists and DJs here. And actually, hold on a second. Oh, that was a whole other thing. Let me pull up this page. Let me shuffle things around just so people can see stuff. Let's do some fun old shuffling here. So this right here, go to Hobo Camp. This DJ Inform mixtape. Did the artwork for that cassette, and that's like if you really like the vibe of the soundtrack to the podcast, you're gonna particularly like this. DJ Informs Bernie Fishman. He's from San Diego. He runs Beatbox Records. This is an awesome little mix, and obviously you can buy the cassette, but you can also just get the digital album, or if you get the cassette, it comes with the digital album. And it is an awesome mix of great soul and boogie and rare deep cuts, and you won't really hear them in many places. So I highly encourage that. You support a lot of people when you buy that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Do that. And that's all I got. And
I will post the map to MCM on my Facebook and Twitter, which is just facebook.com/Geisra and Twitter @Geisra. So, yeah.
All right. There's an episode.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah!
See you later, everybody.
Bye!